Hey guys, welcome to episode 253 of 4Player Animecast. It is smack dab the middle, I guess. Yeah, the middle of August, August 17th, 2024. And it is 10:14 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on the eastern coast of the United States. If it's been a while, I've been a little bit out of the loop. Well, not really, but I've been out somewhere else, so we had to delay this podcast episode. Unfortunately, apologize for the inconvenience. We'll be having another podcast next week just to be able to kind of fill up the schedule properly. But yeah, I am your host, Spire, and with me are my compatriots here,
Hello.
Toast
Huh?
and Dark.
Hi.
All All right, so 2, 3 weeks, I guess. Yeah, 3 weeks ish, right? Just real briefly, let's go around the table. Dark, what about you? Two, past 3 weeks, I think.
Just been playing more Zenless.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Okay.
haven't quite
Pretty quiet then.
re-entered Gacha Hell. Yeah, haven't quite re-entered Gacha Hell. I gotta pick up Nikke again. I've been kind of like slacking on
God.
that.
You
But I
don't
mean,
have
you
to
know,
do
the new
that. You can just watch
Ava
it.
collab's coming, so
Honestly, the way I fill my
That's gonna be
You haven't
gacha,
even watched Evangelion, dude. Like,
yeah, but the characters look cool. So like, you know,
Oscar, bro, Oscar.
I've seen so
But
many gifs. I've basically watched the entire series. When you think
It's
about
like
it.
I know the ometeto scene, and that's about it. And then, that's enough, right?
Yeah, they
Um,
like clap and shit. There's like crosses.
But yeah,
You know, world
pretty
turns
quiet.
into red goo. There you go.
Yeah, just
What else do you need to
immediately
know?
orange everywhere. Yeah, just randomly Fanta everywhere. But anyways, thank you, Dark. Also, the way I kind of
I never said I was done,
so-
Bucko. My week wasn't
okay,
that
okay.
quiet, okay? My 3 weeks, all right, because then the
A lot of
rest,
partying, secret partying.
the rest was filled with battle royale games. You know, a lot of
Okay,
Apex, a lot more Apex
nice.
now, especially the new Fortnite update. A lot more Fortnite. They got Marvel in Fortnite. It's crazy.
Right, yeah.
And then
Doom.
other than that, been keeping up with a lot of shows, been catching up on some stuff. And yeah, that is pretty much it. I don't think there was really much else. Kind of just
Okay.
in MMO hell right now. Gearing up for the WoW expansion,
way-
playing FF14, playing Guild Wars 2. That expansion's
Yeah.
coming out. It's rough.
By the way, the way I kind of just I don't really have a gotcha urge these days, but the way I kind of satisfy that urge, if it ever does kind of come up, is I just watch videos of other people just getting completely stomped by gotcha luck. I just watch videos of people having to hit the ceiling like 3 times, and they're just like, ah, fuck it. But
I've had
yeah,
decent luck in Zenless, so you know, it's all good.
pretty good then.
Until I get a dry spell,
All right.
and then I won't be happy. but,
Yeah, and then, and then the salt releases. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Dark. What about you, Nier?
I've been raiding. I've been raiding in FF14 and PF, which is not a fun experience, but you know, it is what it is. Other than that, gotcha shit. Zenless, I've been not rolling Zenless. I did like a handful of rolls for the current banner, but I didn't get her, so I'm gonna keep saving for the next one.
How F2P is Zenless?
It's a
Hoyoverse.
It's Hoyoverse
So it's
game,
not.
so it's not. But
Yeah,
you
the
know,
rates
so-
in the rates are, what is it? It's like 1% or
Bad.
whatever, and then every
Yeah.
roll you get
The
a little
fuck?
bit more. Yeah, so it goes up a little bit
It
more.
starts out of God damn it.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
way the Hoyoverse one goes is, and then every time you get closer to 90, you have a higher chance of rolling and like an S rank or 5-star, depending on like what the game is. And then obviously at
Okay.
90 is the guaranteed. But the guaranteed is 50-50. So, you know.
Yeah.
And then the second one is 100%. If you don't get the first one, the second one's 100%. So
Okay.
180
Yeah.
rolls, the guaranteed.
Apparently, Genshin for like their
How much is a 10 roll? How much is
anniversary.
a 10 pull, by the way? Out of
Third,
how
usual 30.
like to buy? Oh my god. Well,
Yeah.
I
if
believe.
it's 180, I guess it's not that bad. But like, it depends on how many free rolls you get, right?
I mean,
So
the
it's
real
like,
thing, yeah, you get a decent amount, but like, I think it takes like, in order to get like a full 180, I think it's usually for these games, like, you pretty much have to save up between, as far as like true
is it
free, I
half
think
a
2
year? Is it a year? Or
patches.
what is it?
No, I think it's like
Okay,
2
okay,
patches
okay.
to get 180.
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously,
But
if you do the monthly thing, you can squeeze out like another 60 or something for like
yeah.
$5.
But apparently Genshin recently got I don't really understand what the system was. I read like so I only read the bullet point, right? But it was let me just read this. The new wish mechanic capturing radiance will be available soon. There's a chance of it triggering if you're not guaranteed to win the promotional 5-star character during the character event wish. When triggered, the 5-star character you win this event wish will be promote the promotional 5-star character. So I think they're like either
So is it just gonna be
they're
like a
adding like
75% chance or something?
they're adding like the rainbow sparks from FGO to where it's like your like lose on the 50-50 turns into a win and just randomly, or they're like actually upping the rates. I don't know. It's kind of like translated horribly, but hopefully the other games get that. But you know, it took like fucking like a couple
3 years,
years
4
for
years
fucking
for Genshin to
yeah
get that?
for Genshin to get like basic quality of life features. So you know, but yeah, other than that, you know, just other guys' shit.
Mhm.
Doing mahjong as
Alright.
well, malding.
Hide.
Yeah.
Are you ready for that another Mahjong series to come up on the horizon?
Bro,
Hey,
I saw
Hay
like
of Ice.
I saw like the one like character fucking screenshot of that, and I read like a couple lines in
It
the
was it
description, and I was like, this sounds like ass.
and also the main character looks like he was ripped from an Attack on Titan like character design sheet. And he was just like put in like a Japanese skull kind of thing.
Yeah,
It's just like yeah.
it's so dumb.
But yeah, I hope that someday we'll be able to see a Mahjong series that's not completely living under the shadow of Saki or Akagi, but you know.
Probably not.
God. Anyways, thank you very much, Nier. What about you, Toast?
Huh?
Past
What?
couple of weeks, please. Briefly.
Nobody should be immortal, Spire.
Okay. I agree.
Yeah.
And
What should
And
people do when they're killed?
Hate it. Near. It's unplayable again.
why? Because the sentences have like proper grammar and English structure, or
Yes.
what?
is
Yeah,
this
where's all
translated
the
properly?
soul,
Yeah.
dude?
The first mod I downloaded made it actually playable, but now it's unplayable again.
Uh-huh.
So you've been playing the Fate remake.
No, not at all, because it's unplayable.
Okay. And then apart from that, you've been enjoying some Hololive stuff, I guess?
No. Let's go.
Oh, okay.
So the Fate VN finally got released on the 8th. And it's
Okay.
the real to
Yes.
newer
The remake.
version, which means that the OST sucks balls. Hot
Okay.
take: 2012 Emiya, not as good as original Emiya, not as good as Kenji Kawai Emiya, not as good as Fate Extra Emiya, or sorry,
Yeah.
Nameless.
But the rest of the
Mm.
real newest soundtrack is really good.
It's all right. But near, I need the monodolphins. I need them.
Uh-huh.
I need the real stuff back, even though the art's super outdated. Like 20 years. 20 years? 20 years outdated.
Yeah.
But that 69 quality though. Also, if you didn't buy it on the first day, I'll have you know that you got a different version of Real Tenua than anyone else. The 4 patch. Because that was fun to watch.
I mean, that's been archived, so you can download it whenever.
Oh, really? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I sure love when the penis worms were actually Ilya in disguise. That was hilarious. Also, Shinji, I'm sorry, you have blonde hair.
Yeah.
You have blonde hair and Gate of Babylon now. You're also a writer for some reason. That was fun. If you don't know what I'm talking about, apparently due to it's a bug from the original version of the VN. I guess the real Tenua version, that if you don't have Japanese locale on, all of the backgrounds and sprites were switched around, so you got some fun.
Yeah,
All the text
basically
is correct.
the file pathing is all fucked up, so it starts pulling from random sprites, basically.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what? Who
There's
did
some.
porting? What's happening there?
Don't know. But
They
yeah,
didn't
it was
realize that.
it was fixed within like a few hours, but
They didn't
Okay.
realize that you have to change the locale for us smelly Americans who
yeah.
speak English.
I like how they're just like, we're gonna do a global release, and then not think about how to
I
do a
forgot.
global
Well,
release.
it is.
Yeah.
It is what? It's 2012. It's an old game. Also, for some reason, all of the voice acting is correct, but they left Shiro as silent as default. How dare you? Can't do that. Shiro is not the faceless MC anymore. You can't relate to him. He actually has a voice. So whoever thought to turn it off by default is a moron.
He's a real human being.
But near, I want to place myself in the shoes of Shiro. No, it's not possible. Unless you survived a fire, like he did.
Y'all also never turn black like he does.
Maybe he just turned Latina.
Right. All right. Well.
Also,
Yeah.
in HoloLive news, Aqua's graduating.
Ah, yes. I didn't really want to mention it for the
Too
news
bad
specifically, but
I
I'm
did.
glad that you. Yeah, no, I'm glad that you brought it up. She is graduating. She is one of sort of. I don't think it's an understatement to say one of the crown gems, crown jewels, the main sort of drives attractions of current Hall Life. So it is a big blow to see her going away, but we'll see what
What else?
happens.
What else? Oh, Aspire. Can you guess what
Yes.
song I'm listening to currently?
No, not at
I'll give
all.
you a hint. I've been listening to it for 3 weeks nonstop. It's been 3
3
weeks. 3
weeks.
weeks nonstop.
I feel like I might know
You
what
should
it
know it.
is, but
It's
I
super obvious.
I forget what is it. I don't know.
Take a guess.
It's probably a Suisei song, right, or something.
Oh, wow.
What
No,
is it?
completely wrong.
What is it?
I'll never tell.
What the fuck?
Nice.
Okay. God damn it. Okay.
Ear knows what it is.
Not at all, but
Yeah.
What is it?
Also, the Ataraxia version kind of ass, but it's all right.
Okay. Pretty good. All right.
If
Well,
you don't,
thank you.
it's Emiya. I've been listening to Emiya for
Oh,
3 weeks
okay,
straight,
okay,
and you
okay.
know what? It's on
That makes
right now.
sense.
You know why? Because I
Yeah.
have the what is it? I have the archive, the light novel Real Tenua version archived open right now, and guess what? It plays during when I scroll down. It's the Real
Nice.
Tenua version.
Oh
Anyway,
my
where am I
god.
going? I don't know. How's the earthquake,
Okay.
Spire? I know you had an
Yeah.
earthquake, or tsunami.
There is a couple of earthquakes. Are you done with your section, or do you want me to? I guess take over.
What else did I do? Did I talk about Volcano Princess last
What?
time?
No,
No.
I don't think so. I
Last podcast I didn't talk about Volcano Princess.
Does not
don't
sound
think so.
familiar.
I also bought Volcano Princess. I saw Fauna play it, and I was like, damn, I'm interested in this Princess Maker game. And you know what? It's pretty good. I highly recommend it.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
you got a daughter and you got to raise her to adulthood because your spoiler. Well, not really. It's right at the beginning. Your spoiler. Your wife died, so now you're a single father raising a small child. Also, your daughter fell off a cliff that one time, so that was super stressful.
Okay.
But yeah, Volcano Princess is pretty good. Also highly replayable because there's like what 400 endings, 400 CGs, something like that. 240, several hundred CGs endings. So
How many save slots are there? How many save slots are there?
12.
12?
I want to say
What?
12 or 9.
Jesus
6, 9,
Christ! That's
around
not that
there.
much for
At least
okay.
10.
How long is a
Okay.
run?
How long is one run?
Yeah.
My first playthrough was like what 10 hours.
Jesus, dude.
Christ. Okay.
No, it's
Because I was
fun.
just trying to.
I highly recommend Volcano Princess if you like Princess Maker and all that. Raising
Okay.
Daughter Simulator. But it has replayability because once you unlock certain endings, you get points for the new game plus. Well, not new for new. I should say new playthroughs where you can increase her base stats and whatnot. So because there's combat in it, so combat gets easier along with like other stuff.
Right.
Okay. Pretty
So yeah,
good then.
check it out.
All right. All right. Well,
Don't
thank you
buy
very much.
Fate. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Buy Fate. You should buy Fate. You
Yeah,
have
by
to.
fate.
You have to support it even if it's unplayable right now.
I'm not sure about that, but yeah, you guys should check out Fate. At least if you guys haven't.
Hot take: it's better than Tsukihime.
Tasukahami.
Well, Tsukihime Remake is currently the highest Metacritic PS5 game of all time. So,
Yeah, but is it
Jesus
better than
Christ.
Fate?
I don't know. I haven't played the remake, so I couldn't tell you.
Is it better than Motsukai no Yoru? Probably, yeah. You know what? I'll say it. Fate is Type Moon's best franchise. And you know why? Why do you think everything's adjacent to Fate? Nia, would you?
Because it makes money.
Yeah. Nia,
Yeah, 'cause it's
would you call Mahotsukai no Yoru adjacent to Fate or adjacent to Tsukihime? I'd say Tsukihime.
Previously I would have said Tsukihime, but now that the continuation to Mahotsukai no Yoru is an FGO, it's now adjacent to Fate.
Well,
it's like an FTO is a black hole now, just sucking all the franchises into it.
It basically, yeah, it
it
basically,
basically is, yeah.
Yeah.
Nia, who's your favorite servant?
Jesus.
Saber.
From Mahotsukai no Yoru
Wait, what?
in Fate Grand Order.
What?
Alice.
Oh yeah, that's
Okay.
true. You don't like what's the guy's name? What's the guy's name? Who kills himself with his noble phantasm like a true
Yeah.
hero?
I always forget his name.
But he's the strongest Type Moon protagonist.
Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess technically in a way he is, but
Right, he gets weaker.
yeah, he's cool, but Shiro's cooler, I think.
Yeah, Shiro's probably the best Type Moon protagonist they got.
Oh man, I do want to
well,
continue on
nameless
here,
nameless
but
master. I don't know who you are. Go away.
all right. I do
Yeah,
want to.
whatever.
All right, I do want to continue on here. Thank you, Toast, for your couple of weeks. I guess mine. I mean, I guess my couple of weeks is the reason
Tell
why the podcast was delayed. I apologize again,
tell us
but
about your fleeing the country.
yeah, I took a trip to Japan last week, and it was centered mainly around. It was pretty much all in the Tokyo area, and it was centered around me going to Summer Comic-Con, and I'm seriously considering going to. Well, I'm seriously considering not going to Summer Comic-Con anymore and just going to Winter Comic-Con because, like, ever since 2024, sorry, 2014, 2015, I think the numbers have shifted a little bit to where Winter Comic-Con is more popular, despite it being just before New Year's. And then also, the more major reason as to why I probably want to start going to Winter Comic-Con instead is because during the week I was there, I narrowly dodged two earthquakes, a tropical storm, and two typhoons. So, uh, it was interesting.
Oh,
The first earthquake came 1 or 2 days after. It was like in the southern region of Japan, and they were all everybody in the news was just going, "Oh, this could be a prelude to a mega quake." And when I heard that, obviously, when the news is all screaming about a mega omega earthquake is coming to your neighborhood, you're not having happy thoughts. So I checked the Google Maps and news and found out that Tokyo wouldn't really be affected too hard, even if there was a mega quake to the south. Although obviously everybody in the south is. I'm not downplaying the overall effect of the mega quake, obviously, but Tokyo itself would be kind of just barely out of reach. So I
uh,
thought, okay,
Spire, when was
yeah.
when was this? I like what days?
It was, I think, the initial kind of setup and warning and everything was the earthquake. The southern earthquake was, I believe, on the like 8, 9, 10th, like that, sort of a couple
So
days
you're
after I
already in
arrived.
Japan by then? Wow,
Yeah, 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 I
you
was.
also dodged some tornadoes.
Yeah, exactly. So I was there, and then the mega quake advisor came in, and then over the weekend before Comic Con, or like on the first day of Comic Con or something like that, I was lying in my bed, and then suddenly the alarms came on, and it was just like, oh, the earthquake's happening, and I felt my room shake, and I just, yeah, I apparently there were tornadoes near where
Apparently,
I am
apparently,
currently living right now. Yes,
apparently
exactly. Not
you
just in Japan.
dodged 63.
Yeah,
63 tornadoes this year. Good for you.
yeah. And um, so I was sitting in my uh hotel in Japan, and the building just started shaking gently, and I was just like, God damn it! Like, I'm not even like feeling like scared or anything at this point. I'm just like, "Ah, stupid fucking uh, like, why is all this happening?" And so that earthquake happened in Tokyo, like the weaker earthquake. I think it was like magnitude 5 or something. And then apparently a typhoon came in over what was it? It was a typhoon came in on the west coast of Japan and up to where Hokkaido was. And so that missed Tokyo, and I was like, okay, sure, that's fine. Like that kind of happens here and there, but I'm in Tokyo, so whatever. And then another earthquake happens in near Hokkaido, and I'm like, okay, sure. And then another typhoon happens 2 or 3 days before I was set to leave. Um over like again in like the Hokkaido, Tohoku area, and it was essentially covering where I have to fly because usually where if you're flying out from Japan into the United States or vice versa, you fly northward into sort of Russia, like Korea into Russia, kind of that area, right? And so that typhoon was covering that area, but I was just like, okay, this is a little bit bad, but in a couple of days it'll be gone. Like when I'm actually having to fly out, it'll be gone. And that was that. And then the day before I was set to fly out, news comes up that another typhoon was set to form from the south, and that would hit Tokyo directly, and that would land on Tokyo on the 16th, and just like completely delay and cancel flights. Then, and I was thinking to myself, if I literally had just extended my vacation a couple of days, I would have been stuck here. I would have been stuck in Japan. I would have not even had this podcast right now. And I was just like, what is going on? I had to face two earthquakes and three storms slash typhoons in a matter of 1 week. Not even a week and a half, 1 week. It's just like, why? Just why? So I think from now on, I don't know. It's like I really, really, really like Summer Comic Con, and this was no exception. Comic Con was great. It's always great, despite apparently some German influencers or TikTokers being online and going like, "Where's the artist alley in Comic Con, bro? Where are the cosplayers at Comic Con?" You know, all that shit.
Yeah.
Despite all that, Comic Con is always a joy. But I think from now on, I'm probably going to aim to maybe go to Winter Comic Con instead. But we'll have to see. But yeah, that was mostly my Comic Con. Then I arrived like midnight. Um, yeah, midnight again in the United States, and I'm still kind of struggling with jet lag and trying to change my sleep schedule again. I dropped my phone in during Japan when I was in Japan in the water, and despite me already having dropped that phone once or twice in the United States in water and it being completely fine, especially since it's a Motorola phone and Motorola phones are pretty sturdy, I drop it once in Japan and immediately it just goes out of commission. I'm just like, what is wrong with the water here? Water folded over 1,000 times. Like, what is going on? I've dropped
Where
this in
where in
at least
Japan?
a few.
Like in
Wrath
a
of
river
God,
or an
dude.
ocean? Where?
No, just in the toilet too. It wasn't even like
Oh,
salt water. It was like literally in a toilet. And I was like, okay, like what the fuck?
why would you
That's
drop in the toilet? Were you taking a picture while peeing or something? How dare you?
no, I had it near the basin, and then I like kind of tapped it into the toilet, but by accident into the toilet. But
Did you know you can get?
yeah.
Did you remember that one time when what's her name? Summer got pink eye from using the phone on the toilet. Watch out for pink eye.
Yeah, well, I fortunately did not get that, but I had to go to Akiba and go to a used phone store and get a new phone, or not a used phone, and properly set it up and all that crap. So
How's your
that was
SIM
a mess
card?
too. My SIM card was okay. It was just the phone that was messed up, but yeah. But yeah, a lot of adventures aside. Other than that, it was pretty quiet. Again, I like going to Comic for Japan and stuff like that. Ate a lot of ramen there too. That was nice. Almost barfed after my first Jiroke ramen. That was interesting, but yeah. Other than that, pretty quiet. And then try
How
to
was
keep up
Comic
with
Con in
anime series.
general? I know you missed the
Uh,
fun Comic Con story that you
what do you mean by fun comic story? Like the stalker or the assault
yeah
or whatever? What are you talking about?
that was
No. I mean, I saw the news
you
stuff
weren't
about
there.
that, but
Why didn't you
I
stop
wasn't
inspired?
there. Obviously, like I
How
was
dare
like I
you?
don't. When I go to Comic Con, I just don't have time for the cosplayers. I'm sorry. I just like there's already not enough time for me to go around to all the booths and like buy the stuff and look at all this stuff. It's very difficult, and I think you can really tell who goes to Comic
Ah,
and who doesn't, because whenever somebody who goes to Comic and they like say like it's a tweet about Comic Con, right? And they talk about it. One of the first things that they always reply with is Comic Con is a war. It's like a battle, and it really is. It's just very hard to just. It takes a lot out of you. So it was. I did not visit the cosplayers, although I did see their backs as I was walking from one hall to another, because they were in the outside annex, sort of in the annex area between the two halls. But other than that, I never really see the actual full cosplay area. Although obviously there were cosplayers walking around in the other halls. So
what
yeah,
swag merch did you get?
I got a lot of stuff. Again, usually I like getting smaller stuff like acrylic. I like mini acrylic key holders and like little postcards. I always like smaller stuff like that. But I did get a couple of larger stuff because sometimes a lot of the bigger artists oftentimes sell kind of these bags in sets. So usually they'll have like a big bag, and inside the bag they'll have different merch like a mask or like a fan or a towel or plus a postcard plus their doja and stuff like that. So I sometimes buy that. I oftentimes buy that if I like the artist, but I bought a couple of that. I think I bought at least a few shirts, or like I know I bought a Vispo towel, and I might have bought something else. I forget. I had to unpack it all and take pictures and stuff, but I haven't done that yet because again, it's been pretty hectic, and I went back to work literally the day after I came back at midnight. So like I came back on midnight of a Thursday, and then I went to work at like 9, 10 of that day after trying to get some sleep. So it's been a little bit dizzying for
Had to
me.
report all those foreign secrets you collected, eh?
Yeah, I'm just glad Japan isn't considered a high counterintelligence country like Korea is because
Yeah.
I can actually use my work device in Japan here and there. But it's actually really interesting because the reason why I couldn't extend my vacation like just willy-nilly for Japan was because I need to report that about a month to 2 months in advance because of my security clearances. And so I was just like, oh man, like if I just had like a couple more days, I would have been able to kind of extend it to the weekend and I would have been able to have, some relaxed time properly, use the weekend to kind of slaw off my jet lag. But now I'm really glad that by the grace of God that my vacation was cut short like that, forcibly, because I would have been doing this podcast in Japan if that had not happened. So, but yeah. Anyways, that was more my, romp over in Japan.
You
Again,
sh-
yeah,
how much
yeah.
English did you speak?
How much English did I speak?
Because remember, you come from a high intelligence country, right? You can't speak
No,
that. You
no, no,
can't speak. You can't speak
no, no, no,
Korean
no,
over
no, no,
there.
no, no,
They'll
no,
get
no,
you.
no. Yeah, no, no, no. No, I was talking about how Korea is a high counterintelligence country,
Yes,
meaning that there's a threat of like.
yes. So
Although
did you?
it would have
Did
been
you?
really funny if the counterintelligence just meant that sort of intelligence,
They're just
but
too smart over there.
yeah, they're just
We
really
don't know what
smart
to
in those
do.
counter ways. Yeah, exactly. But that would be really funny. But actually, it was really nice being able to kind of how do I say this? Like when I need the more I go over there, the more I kind of understand the whole Gaijin Smash kind of thing. Because before I thought it was more of a meme, but there are times where I'm talking with some people in terms of like a vendor or like a process that I need to go through or whatever, where it's just like easier for me to speak to them in like I'm a foreigner or like try to do it in English, not, because it kind of slows them down. What I mean by that is like kind of slows them down, and by that I can be like I can control the conversation a little bit better in that way.
So did you
So,
speak broken English? I want
um,
this kudasai. Hell yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I just did like a big kind of like I'm foreigner kind of thing in some
I
aspects, like at
watashi
the
wa
airport. Yeah,
gaijin desu.
yeah, exactly. And they're especially at like the airport where I need to kind of slow down the conversation and be like, this is the exact things I want and I need them kind of now. Um, that business, again, for instance, like at the airport where I'm like checking in stuff or whatever, it's easier for me to just be like, okay, I'll just do gaijin stuff, like gaijin fucking foreign tourist stuff for me. So that was nice. But anyways, that was
Did you
my
meet any fun artists? Who's your favorite?
I actually met so one of the VTubers I really like watching here and there is Shiteita Nora, and I met her in person at Comic-Con, and I managed to talk with her, and I was just like, I came all the way from overseas to meet you, but I don't really Google your stuff like naturally. I don't really Google any VTuber stuff that like by myself. I just watch them float up on my YouTube, but for some reason, all of her clips are of her having a big butt, and I was just like, "What's that all about?" And we had that sort of conversation.
How much
But
and how much did you pay? Remember, you have to pay what is it, $60 for 3 minutes for an
No,
Ichisanji?
I didn't have to pay anything because she was the
no.
booth girl. She was the booth girl for her booth because I was just there to get her merch. So I was talking with her while she was doing the transaction, or while she and her helper was doing the transaction. So I tried to get a couple more lines in because I'm a fucking gaijin, right? I'm from overseas, so I could get a couple more lines in while talking with her.
You can be as
I'm an ignorant
obnoxious
gaijin,
as you
bro.
want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Did you speak to her in English? Doesn't she know English?
No, I spoke to her in Japanese. It
Wow,
would
look
have
at this
been pretty
guy.
funny if I think she knows a little bit of English, but I don't think I would have been able to have the same sort of quality convo with her if I had spoken, tried to kind of brute force my way with Gaijin English. I think it would have been a completely different conversation. But yeah. Anyways, that was my couple of weeks. So I guess
Damn, I can't believe
we'll
Spider got to meet his Oshi.
I do like that VTuber quite a lot. But anyways, let's start off on that subject of VTubers. Let's start off with Toast. You have something for us, and it's been making the rounds recently.
Uh, has it? A little
Yeah, I
bit.
mean, yeah, I
I,
would
I
say
haven't I
so.
haven't seen anything about it really.
I mean,
So
obviously, it's not like Oshinoko levels, but it's been on social media, right?
I wouldn't call it Oshinoko levels.
Yeah, I literally
That's
said I
literally why he said it's not
yeah.
Oshinoko levels.
I don't know where to place this. Like I'd call it I'd call this the Umaro-chan of anime. I
What?
guess.
Of anime? I think the
What does
Umaru
that?
ten is
What
the
does that
Umaru ten of
mean?
anime.
I'll call it the Umaro-chan of V-Den. Yeah.
Okay. So you're defining it within its own series? What is
Yes.
you just said the Umaru ten of Viden?
Yes.
Nice.
I think
I don't know.
okay,
Well,
so
I mean, it's no shit. The jokes are more like tongue in cheek. It's not Shikanoko Noko level, but it's definitely more Umaru level, and it's
yeah, okay.
definitely
Yeah,
not
no, that's
common.
understandable.
It's not on the level of Common Rider as a Yaruko-san. So
Yeah. Okay, so you want to go over? I guess I'll just say it out loud. VTuber legend: How I went viral after forgetting to turn off my stream, also known as VTuber Nanda ga Haishin Kiriwasuretara Densetsu ni Natteta, or also known as VDen for short. So this was originally a light novel series, or it was web novel that was posted on Hamlin and Kakyomu before in 2020, and then became published as an official light novel in 2021. Now it's an anime, or it got in manga, and now it's an anime adaptation. So,
all right. So before I start, we have to talk about the origins of VTubing. Spire, what is a VTuber?
a VTuber is, I guess, somebody with a moving 2D avatar. Um, that I guess the streamer moves a 2D avatar. They don't necessarily have to show their face or anything like that, and they use that to do streaming. Essentially,
A
they use that
VTuber
as part of their streaming.
is
Yeah,
an online entertainer who uses a virtual avatar generated using computer graphics. Real-time motion
sure.
capture software or technology are often, but not always, used to capture movement. The digital trend originated in Japan in the mid-2010s and has become an international online phenomenon in the 2020s.
Okay.
So now we must talk about the first virtual YouTuber, Kizuna I guess.
Do we?
No, not really. I already did that with
Yeah.
shit. What was that series
The
called?
first
The NFT
VTuber,
one.
Annoying Orange.
No, it was what? Who's the? What was the one that Jerma used during Five Nights at Freddy's?
What, Satan?
Yeah, isn't he the first VTuber?
I think Annoying Orange was before that, but
Okay. So, VTuber Legend is about. So,
Yes.
VTuber Legend is about this third generation member of Live On. Get it?
wow.
Live On.
Yes. There are
I don't
actually
know.
a lot of similar, yeah, VTuber agencies, or VTuber agencies that are named in similar stuff in real life. Yeah.
Name one.
Fucking. I know that the
Hollow
isn't it like
Live Aspire.
yeah
Come
dot.
on, come
I mean,
on.
Hololive. I'm trying to think of like stuff that's like simple. I know like dot whatever it was, dot live or whatever it was.
Virtual. No,
Yeah.
that's a song. Anyway. So yeah, so our story begins. The main character is Awayuki Kokorone. She's a Sankisei. If you don't know what that means a third gen member of
Uh-huh.
Live On, and she's basically the runt of her generation. She's got half the amount of subs and CCV as her other gen mates, and she's trying to be this pure say-so. Say-so means like I don't know, Spire. What does say-so mean? I'm gonna throw out
The
terms.
original word is kind of just like clean, refined kind of stuff. Essentially, somebody who
Very,
doesn't quote unquote tell like a bunch of dirty jokes or whatever stuff like that. It's
very
kind of essentially,
ladylike, I would
yeah,
say. I guess
yeah, sure.
because she's got a snow princess theme. Get it? Because she's a Yuki.
Mm.
So she's streaming one day, but then for some reason she forgets to turn off her stream that one day, and it turns out she's a hapless drunk who loves Strong Zero, and she's not pure and say so at all, but she's a drunk, and she likes making dirty old man jokes at everyone else while she's streaming. Apparently, it's a thing where I I didn't think it was this common, but it's common for her to do Twitch Twitch-esque streams where she watches other streamers and comments on them and whatnot.
Oh yeah, that's like
That
a very standard thing in not necessarily in well, I think it is somewhat
do you watch streams while streaming their stream? It's weird.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That happens. So it's a lot more common in the older generation of not even VTubers, like streamers, right? So for Asian streamers, I mean, I guess for Western streamers as well, there's a lot of just reacting to
I
other
love
streamers'
react
contents, right?
content.
And Twitch, well, like a lot of for instance, like cam girls will a lot of them will do that, but I think it's a little bit less common in the much younger generation because a lot of the younger generation of streamers kinda just do play the games and just do whatever, or do just chatting or so on, but it's not they don't do as much of reacting to other, streamers. So, that's almost like a generational gap in a sense. But,
But yeah,
yeah,
so she
anyways.
shows off her drunken old man pervert rambly form while by accident or
Mhm.
mistake, and she becomes an overnight viral hit sensation thanks to that. Apparently the number one streamer in the world. I don't know. He said that, but I don't believe that at all. But yeah, so now after the aftermath is like, oh damn, I guess you saw my drunken side, who they call Shua-chan, because Shua is like the fizzling bubbliness of Strong Zero. So that's her alter ego now, and she's like, oh, the hell with it. And now that's her. She's taking advantage of the newfound popularity, and she's showing off her true self, and that's where our story begins. Yeah, and Aoyuki Kokorone is voiced by Ayane Sakura, who I guess is okay.
I
You
think
know who
Ayana
she
Sakura
is.
also did quite a decent amount of homework beforehand, where it's like, or she showed off a lot of like kind of behind the scenes homework that she did, where she was talking about like I think she did do collaborations before with VTubers as well, right? Like Hololive and other VTubers,
Yeah,
and she used that experience as well as kind of obviously talking with them and so on, to be able to fit into this role a little bit better.
yeah, unlike that. And judging by the date that this series started on, you can kind of
Mm,
pinpoint. I guess this is like 2020 because this started in 2020. You can kind of pinpoint who her and the other VTubers in this series are based off of.
mhm.
Kokorone is pretty obvious who she is.
There's like a
Fire,
Shigeru
can you
Inui
guess?
character in this one, right? I think.
Yeah, that's that we'll
Yeah.
talk about later. But yeah, Spire, can you guess who she is? Yeah, she's
Wait, which one?
this the main character, Kokorone Aoyuki. Who do you think she's based off
Uh,
of? Based on 2020 and 2019, 2020 VTubing.
Rit?
Who?
Like I don't actually know. I feel like isn't this just isn't this the student council like trio or whatever from Nijisanji, or like the Shikarin? Isn't that it?
Baka Trio? No,
No.
I would say more. She's more along the lines of Otogi Bara era or Gibara, if you want to put it that way. the way she
Ibara?
say so, and then she
Oh,
was
I
like, "Oh,
guess. Yep.
never mind."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's my take.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
We
sure.
can talk
That makes
about
sense. Yeah.
we can talk about the student council from Niji Sanji later on. But yeah,
Mhm.
that's her, part of the third gen, and then we meet her other gen mates. There's
Mhm.
Matsuria Hikari, who's voiced by Machiko. Yeah, Machiko is I don't know who is this.
Matsuko is very famous. Like she's done a
Oh yeah,
lot of like
name one
Idolmaster
role.
and so on. Her role in Idolmaster, and she does like one in Uma Musume, right? Because she always shows up in those live
Isn't
action
she the
events.
main character? What's her name? Who's the main character in Uma Musume?
The
I don't know. I don't play Uma Musume.
I forget.
Yeah. So
A
that's her.
special week? Yeah.
That's her. Yes, that's special week.
No, no, no.
Oh,
She's
what?
Tokai. She's Tokai. She's
What's
different.
that
She's
in
like a
English?
different Tokai Telo
I don't
or
know.
Tokai Teo,
That's not
right?
special week. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's Machiko,
But
and she's she voiced stuff in Project Sekai and whatnot, and
mhm.
Matsuria, she's judging from her Matsuri themed outfit and her blonde hair, I would say she's probably based off of Matsuri and Hoshikawa Sera. Maybe
Yeah.
the Matsuri's kind of obvious.
Or maybe even a little bit of like a Pimaru-sama influence with like Kage and Luna kind of vibes. Just the high tension kind of thing.
I don't know, but she has a voice filter on, and like, there's only one VTuber I know who has a voice filter on, for obvious
Mhm.
reasons. And I was thinking Tomari Mari, but okay, yeah. She specializes in gaming endurance streams because
Mhm.
in the first episode she was playing Sausage Legend, like actual Sausage Legend.
Okay.
Apparently, there's going to be a lot of actual trademarks and games in here, so and
Yeah.
like which we did not get in the light novel, which is cool. But I guess they shelled out money to be like, hey, we want Sausage Legend. And we're like, okay, cool. And then
Okay.
oh yeah, the Shigeru Ui character you mentioned before. She's
Mhm.
also the third gen mate of Aoyuki Kokorone. That's
Mhm.
Mashiro Irodori. Well, what's weird is while she is Shigeru Ui, she gives that vibe. She's also a gen member. So it's like, how does that work? How does a gen member become your mama when they were holding debuts? How do you think that works, Fire? It's weird. I don't get it. Has that been was that a precedent in the VTuber world before? I don't think so.
No, I'm not sure.
But yeah,
I forget.
I would say she's Shigeru Ui because she collabs because Shigeru Ui is pretty popular and she collabs with Subaru a lot.
Yeah.
Kind of has that Illustrator vibes and whatnot. But Aoyuki is not a Subaru character. What else? Um, and then the last member of her gen is Chami Yanagase, voiced by oh, uh, voiced by Sayaka Kikuchi. That's cool. I don't know who this is. Uh, yeah, and she does ASMR, and she's like the older
Mhm.
sister type of character to them, and she does ASMR content, and she's a good cook. Spire, guess who would you call that? Which VTuber is that, Spire? In
Does a lot of collabs.
she the big sister type who does ASMR and good at cooking. Who is
Good at
that?
cooking. Isn't that just something like an Okayu or like fucking I don't know. I forget. There's like a
In
couple of other ASMR
2020?
YouTubers
I would not
in
call
2020.
Okayu
I don't know.
good at cooking or an Onesan type in 2020.
I forget. It's been a while, so I don't really.
Killing me, Smalls. Name a VTuber in 2020 who does ASMR exclusively and had really high numbers.
Hachima.
Close.
No.
That's a different one.
Really good cook. What do you mean?
Spire forgets who it was sub to for a long time, and before the big Anyway, I'm talking about Choco, dude. Come on, get with the program
Uh,
here.
uh, oh, yeah, sure. Okay.
Spire, do
I
you
guess.
really
Yeah, that's
watch
true.
VTubers?
Yeah. Because she didn't do the choco cooking stuff until after a while. That's why. But yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's that. And that's her gen, and they all came and be like, "Hey, dude. Hey, Awayuki. It's nice of you to finally come out of your shell because, you seem so stiff and whatnot when you
Hmm.
were trying to act prim and proper, but now it's easier to talk to you." And then they all congratulate her for breaking out of her shell and whatnot. And then might as well go down the gens. And then like two other members of the second gen show up and be like, "Hey, you want to collab because you're free and whatnot, and you're a uh, a viral buzz." So the second gen is Sei Sei Utsuki, who's voiced by Kobayashi Yu, and she's
Yeah.
the she's the dragon girl in
Rough
the
and
picture.
rowdy. Yeah.
And
She's essentially Dora from Nisanji. Essentially,
yeah, I
that's the
mean
copy.
design wise, yeah. But
Yeah.
her personality is apparently she's a former Yuri AV, whatnot.
Yeah, it
So
happens.
I'm getting vibes from a Skabu from her
Okay.
and whatnot. She's voiced by Kobayashi Yu. That you know who she is. She's
Yeah.
cool. And then
So
like her,
most of these are like, yeah.
and then there's the other second gen member who's a Shrine Maiden Fox girl. Is a Kaminari Shion. G Spire. Who do you think she's based off of? She's very motherly and is a fox girl. Who name a
uh,
popular fox girl in 2020?
2020.
Well, she's
Bro, I have
technically
like,
two, so
Fubuki?
and one more.
What do you mean and?
Who's motherly and is also associated with the shrine in 2020?
Oh,
Mio?
Mio?
Yeah,
Mio?
she's
Yeah.
basically
Yeah.
Fubuki and Mio. I'm like, that's cool.
Okay.
So we got reps from all over the or sorry, not the Hololive sphere, the VTuber sphere in here. And then I
But
guess
yeah,
the last,
most of the others, yeah.
the last main character so far, I would say, would be the first gen member of Live On, who is Asagiri Hareru, and she's the schoolgirl looking one
Yeah.
is
But
in
she's
the
also
picture.
like supposed to be wonky or whatever.
She's pretty wonky. She's very outlandish.
Yeah.
She embodies the spirit of Live On because she's a super out there. I would say her
Yeah. That's
personality.
what that's like a bit like, again, it's like Tokino Soda or like Shiro kind of vibes, right?
I
Then
would
no
say
Shoujo kind of,
Tsukino
yeah.
Mito because she with
I can see that. Yeah.
I would say she's more like Tsukino Mito of a Live On, mixed
Uh,
in with some maybe Hot Chama because she
yeah.
liked to talk about eating bugs all the time
Yeah.
and other stuff. I wouldn't say Sora though. Sora's pretty say so. But yeah, Haru's voiced by Yoko Ikasa. Pretty good, I'd say. I'd say top three of my voice actors of all time. But yeah, and whatnot. And so far, the episodes have basically been
It's just episodic, right? I would guess.
pretty episodic, and
Yeah.
the episodes are basically VTube like VTubing.
It's regular, like what's in a day, like in the life of a VTuber streamer, right? Kind
Yeah,
of thing. How much interactions do they have with each other is my question. Because that's like the important part of this story, in my opinion. Because like the whole VTuber stuff, I I'm gonna be very honest. As a fan of VTubers myself, I don't really care because again, we talked about this in the preview. We could just watch regular VTubers, so this story doesn't have that much draw. But where the story does have value is in creating these original characters and them actually interacting with each other under this premise of VTubers. Like the VTubers, the theme is not that important, but the characters interacting is important. So, how much do the characters themselves interact with each other? Is my question.
So far they've mostly interacted in the way they do collab streams.
Okay,
Um,
okay,
like when
that's fine.
Awayuki collabed with what's uh with Yanagase Chami. It was a they did a uh, was it? I keep getting the words up. I want to or a Totsu stream. Is it a Totsu stream? No, no, no. A Zatsudan stream. They were like just
Okay.
they had an off collab and then they talked about stuff. They were like,
Hmm.
oh, um, let's see. They had an off collab because when Aoyuki was playing Getting Over It, the actual Getting Over It with Befari, she screamed and she broke her mic. So Chan was like, "Hey, you broke your mic. Let me give you one of my ASMR mics." That's the story of how they started. They got a collab together and they just talked about stuff. So that was cool. And when Mashiro or Aoyuki's mama they collabed, they did a marshmallow stream with an actual marshmallow, the actual marshmallow site. So that was cool. And then Mashiro was talking like, "Oh, I can't believe that there's this side of you when you did your viral hit stream, and I drew a new costume for you." So that's how she gets her second costume pretty easily. Who's Shua-chan, and shorts and shirt, and she's holding a can of Strong Zero. I think
Yeah.
I think
So, like,
it's the actual Strong Zero because they got
yeah,
licensing for that. But in the light novel, it was Strong Zero, but not Strong Zero, if you know what I mean. So,
yeah, like McDonald's.
yeah.
My question is, okay, so so this is do you think from what you've seen for the past 6 episodes or
I've
so,
yeah.
it's going to be completely episodic and it's gonna stay that way until, like, episode 12 where they're gonna kinda just, like, run off into the sunset? Or do you think there's some sort of overarching thing that's gonna start to happen? Or how do you think the flow is gonna pan out?
Honestly, I don't know where they're going with this story. It's
Yeah, because
basically
it's, like,
just
very
VTuber stuff.
open-ended.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
episode 5, which was super quick, they already had they debuted the 4th gen of Live On. So I know, and there's a bunch of girls. One of them's an elf, and I don't want. One of them's an elf, and she likes animals. She's an elf who owns a zoo. I don't know any elves who. I don't know any elf VTubers in 2020. I'm not counting Flare. No, and she talked about gorilla penises and how they have a bone in them. That was cool.
Uh-huh.
And
That
then
sort of stuff, yeah.
basically the 4th gen became fans of Awayuki after her viral stream, and they're like, "Oh, we're unhinged too. We want to join Live On," and they're like, "Okay." So they idolize her and whatnot.
Mhm.
Basically that. Most most of the interactions are most of the interactions with Aoyuki are due to collabs. They collab and do this and whatnot. But other than
Okay.
that, a majority of the content of these episodes is like an actual VTuber stream where they're streaming and then like they react to their chat and then they do stuff. Kind of like that.
Yeah. I just, I think this is fine, but except just, like, 2 things, again, and we've discussed this before where first, what we discussed just now, this is very open-ended, so I think it's gonna be hard to close or resolve in a satisfying manner or this series in a satisfying manner because as much as, you know, the episodic stuff and the daily lives, it's like it might be cute and whatever to watch, but it has to end within 12 episodes, right? This is a series that has an X amount of episodes and it has to end. So I think that's a little bit iffy at times. And the second part of it is, could you sell it to me, for instance, right? Again, I am a VTuber fan, but then I'm just like, okay, so why would I necessarily want to watch an anime about just kind of isn't this a little bit more diluted than the real VTubers is my question, right? It's kind of like it's just a mainstream version or casual version of what how VTubers act like in real life. Is what I'm getting from it, or is it like crazier, or what's going on here?
I mean, it depends on the era of like VTubing you're talking about, because the
Yeah.
landscape of VTubing in 2024 currently is much different back then than it was in 2020.
Yeah, the setting
2020,
here is in 2020, but the memes and stuff like that and what they're doing right now in the anime is more modern and like extreme, is what you're saying, right?
no, that's definitely dated if we're going like with the
Okay.
source material, because the author is definitely was definitely referencing stuff that happened. Like when did Ring Fit come out? Like 2019, 2020. There was a
I mean,
hybrid
people are still doing Ring Fit streams these days.
like Ring Fit slash Wii Fitness stream where like, oh, what's your weight? And ha ha ha, also your grip strength. And there's two members of Hololive who have references associated with that, with you know, weight and grip strength. Also, that one time, what is it? Name? Say, the Dola type character.
Right,
She
right.
was she was playing a Mario Maker-esque game, and then Sabbath of the Witch popped up, and then she laughed it off, and that's a pretty dated reference too, if you think about it.
Yeah.
That's if you don't know who that is, that's the infamous Sakura Miko clip, not the GTA one, but the Mario Maker one when she played a Sabbath of the Witch. How much she likes Ubisoft, so that's
I
there
think
too.
again, that's it's a little bit more. I mean, obviously it's dated. It's a little bit more in the past, but I think it's also a general kind of casualized, right, way to bring the VTuber theme into an anime series without going so deep in the meme and reference mines to the point where a person who isn't necessarily in the know but watches VTuber Legend isn't just like, what the fuck are they talking about? What the fuck is this reference? You know what I
I
mean? So I
mean,
think that's all. It's a balance of both.
I would have to kind of disagree, because, like I said, the facet of this VTuber Legend is mostly from the Japanese end, I would say, currently. So unless you were watching VTubers
Yes.
apparently 4 years ago, because that's 2020, you wouldn't get many of these references. You could just
Hmm.
write them off. Because hot take, most of the people who would watch VTuber Legend over here would are mostly due to the EN gen of VTubers,
Well,
which
what I'm saying is that they are still references. Don't get me wrong; they are still references, but like the types of references that are being used in terms of like, oh, I'm playing Ring Fit, or I'm playing Sausage Legend, or I'm playing, or not, or like I like Ubisoft games, or like I'm a little bit wonky, stuff like that, are at times both references, and they're the types of more general kind of references that can be appreciated, I would say, by more casual audiences. And it's not a super specific reference like this guy, this VTuber likes this other VTuber, and then they have this relationship. So that's the sort of reference. It's not that deep into the minds. You know what I mean? It is sort of what I'm saying.
maybe, like, most, if you're not in the know, ha ha ha, most people will just like laugh it off and whatnot, be like, hey,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah, yeah,
cool
yeah.
reference and whatnot. But if you're in the know, you'd be like, hey, I get that reference, that's cool. That's why I
Yeah,
call
yeah.
this the Umaru-chan of VTubing. way where it just like writes off references, and if you know them, you know them. And
Mhm.
that's super cool. But in our case, we do know them, so it's like, hey, I know that one.
Okay.
Yeah, what else? There's a lot. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of there's a lot of games in here that are like the actual games. Like I mentioned I mentioned Getting Over It and Sausage Legend. There was
Mhm.
apparently also Gartic Phone. Gartic Phone's in there too. They did a
Gartic Phone is very popular, yeah, just in general.
Gartic Phone stream. And if you don't know, in one of the episodes when Awayuki was watching streams while doing her own stream, there are quite a few actual VTuber thumbnails popped up. Those are the real ones. Like I believe it was like if you want to be in VTuber Legend, you could like submit your VTuber channel and be like, okay, we'll throw in your thumbnail because there's a lot of actual VTubers in here. Of the ones that I know personally, there was an Aki Rosenthal stream where I believe she was drinking Strong Zero that one time. So get it, tongue in cheek
Mm.
reference. Then there was a Choco stream, but it was a Choco stream using one of her more recent outfits. So if you want to put it, if you try to time stamp it, it throws everything out of whack. Because also there was an Aruran from Hollow Stars stream, and the thumbnail picture was his old outfit, but like the channel image was his new outfit. So it's like, where are we going with this, bros? Also, who else I mentioned? Sora was there. Tokino Sora, that's cool. I also saw Asuna
Mm.
Ruri. Yeah, but her face was cut off, and like that's rude, dude. So you can only see like the top of her head and her headband. But I was like, that's Asuna Ruri. Also, I had to ask Spire for help on this one, but Tomoe Tamiyasu was there too,
Okay.
and you know who that
So
is?
they're,
That
like, actually, like, hiring a couple of other people just as, like, cameos as well.
I wouldn't say hiring. This is just it's just a free Easter egg. They just submitted their VTuber channels and like, okay, we'll put them in there. There's also
Okay.
some smaller VTubers in there who I don't know because I only watch the big boys. So, but yeah, that was cool. What else? Guess I should talk about like the setting of the world. If I haven't already.
The setting?
Yeah, because the setting's kind of weird. You never see the setting is that I would call it the actual virtual world because you never see to the main character's like real identity at all. It's just they're always in their VTuber form and whatnot.
So there aren't any visualizations of real life Japan, like, or the people behind the VTuber masks. It's literally
You
100%
never you
just the
never
VTuber stuff.
see you never see who they are in real life. It's just they're just portrayed as their VTuber selves constantly, even when they're in walking around Japan. Because it doesn't really matter. You don't need to know who they are behind the scenes and whatnot.
Even when they're walking along Japan, so like they'll have a scene of like them going to a convenience store, but it's literally the VTuber avatar. Like,
Yeah,
what?
yep. They're just there walking around their normal outfits.
That's weird.
No, not
Oh,
really.
in
I
their
get it
norm. Okay.
because
Okay.
the face there's a, the people the normal people walking around Japan, they're depicted as like face or headless cardboard cutout stick figures because why not?
Oh,
It
okay,
doesn't
okay.
matter
So
who
they're
they are.
not. It's not like a real, like, realistic depiction. It's just like a kind of cartoonish depiction of like what they're doing IRL, right? It's
Yeah,
like, yeah, okay, 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 okay.
but
It's kind of like what happens in actual VTuber clips, right? Where sometimes editors of those clips will just take their VTuber faces and they're like, this is what they're doing in real life, like blah blah, blah, and they just like kind of draw it out. It's kind of like that.
yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But like the only other real person I would say is their manager. That was
Yeah, yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What else?
Um, Audio visuals? Can you?
Overall, that's about audiovisuals. Oh, I should mention
Yeah.
the studio. The studio who does this is TNK, and
Okay. I haven't heard them before.
TNK. If
Oh
really,
wait, I might have heard them before,
TNK is pretty
actually.
popular. High School DxD. You know what that is? School Days.
Oh, they did. They did. Okay.
Kanazuki no Miko, dude. Come on.
Yeah, dude. Kandagawa Jet Girls. Come on.
Kanagawa Jet Girls.
The Go
Ikitosen.
Jack girls.
Kyoshiro Toto. Oh, Kyoshiro Toto Sora. Damn. All right, I'll give this another extra point for that. Anyway, UFO. I mentioned that because there was also a reference to High School DxD in this series
Uh-huh.
because Hareru, the first gen, she was playing Weiss Schwartz and it was like legit Weiss Schwartz, like the actual card game with High School DxD, like the actual High School DxD cards in there. And I want to say, uh, what's that? Korewa Zombie desu ka? Yeah, I want to say Korewa Zombie desu ka because there was a what's that chick's name? The magical girl in Korewa Zombie desu ka?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. The magic. Yeah, I
Sorry,
know.
the Maso Shoujo character,
Yeah,
Haruna.
the little like the brat
Haruna's
girl.
card
Yeah.
there. Yeah, so that was cool.
The thing is,
Does
this
TNA?
really makes me think. This really makes me think that the. I mean, obviously, the people like producing it is going to be a little bit aged because they're like a lot of them are probably veterans and stuff like that. But even the writer, especially, I think, is at least my age or older. I think, because else he wouldn't be making so many of these sorts of references. Is my thought. You know what I mean? So
There's
I think
also
he's at least 30s.
there was also a school. They talked about school days, like, oh, I love school days, and they did the nice
Yeah,
quote.
he's at least in his 30s or up. So yeah.
And then they talked about Ubisoft games, like actual Ubisoft games. So
Uh-huh.
TNK, that's cool. And that's why, like I said, that's why I called it the Moro-chan of VTubing, whatnot. What else?
OPED?
The OP is well, there's the OP is all right. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's Virtual Showtime sung by Ayane Sakura, featuring
Okay.
Ayane Sakura as Shua-chan. Pretty good.
Yeah, she's singing the other, yeah.
Now the
Oh,
EDs,
and then they got each of the other characters to sing all the individual EDs and stuff like that, right? I think.
I want to. No,
Yeah.
you
If you
say
look at
individual
Mal,
EDs,
yeah,
but
they have.
they're basically
Yeah.
covers.
Yeah.
Like the first ED was Champagne Inari Kirenai Watashi wo something, sung by
Yeah.
Ayane Sakura. And then the second one was Otome no Love Game with Ayane Sakura and Kobayashi Yu.
Hmm.
And then the third one is kind of tongue in. The third one was kind of a meta. It's pretty meta if you think about it. It's a Sweet Magic, sung by Machiko. And if you know Machiko's other roles, she was also a character in Project Sekai, who also
Hmm.
sung Sweet Magic. I
Yeah,
believe it
because
was
this is a Vocaloid song and Proseka is it's like the Vocaloid rhythm game.
Kusanagi
Proseka.
Nene from Project Sekai sang Sweet Magic with the same voice actor, but now she sung it again in a different tune as
Bro, all of these are
Matsuria
like real.
as Project Sekai.
All
So that
these
was cool.
series are all these songs are at least like 5+ years old, actually, if
The
not
only
like 10+ years old. Yeah.
they also did the Welcome to the What is it? Welcome to the NHK. Is
Yeah.
that a series?
Yeah. Welcome to the NHK. They did. I think I forget if it was but it was
I
one of
believe it's
the.
the theme song or whatever.
Yeah,
Welcome.
it's one of these theme songs for Welcome to the NHK. NHKにようこそ, and it's Odoru Akachan Ningen, right? So
Yeah. That was sung by Kaya no Ai, but the only original song is the live on, like I guess. I,
yeah, it's the
I don't-
ending. It was the first ending for NHK. Yeah.
yeah, so the only actual like real song, original song is "Live Start" by the Live On cast. Would you? I guess you could call it their live on anthem of the show because it features all of them.
Hmm.
Is Virtual 2 Live basically the Niji Sanji theme song or no? I like. Is that the overall song for the company?
No, it's not
Because
the overall song for the company. I think it's Virtual Tone or one of the songs that they had for their like
okay,
VTuber animes or something like that. Yeah.
because like the actual equivalent I would make is "Shiny Smiley Story." That's the
Yeah,
Hololive
yeah.
theme song, so I guess that would be the equivalent of this.
Hmm.
But yeah, overall visuals are pretty good. I should mention that they use actual L2D software for this. For like
Hmm.
it's referenced there, and like you can see their OBS stream setup because OBS is in the credits in tier 2. So like they actually use their VTubing software, their L2D in here.
Hmm.
Um, even even though they're mostly animated, but when you see their stream on their monitor or on their phone, where they're using their L2D software, they're actually using their L2D model. So that was cool. Um, audio visual is pretty good. But what else can I say? Why do they call them livers, Spire?
Um, because it's from the uh, it's
Did you?
from the Japanese. I don't know. It's not a portmanteau, right? But it's like
I mean, it's
um
called live on, called livers.
Yeah, it's essentially it's Japanese portmanteau of or like something doing something about live, which is like the the loan word that they use for broadcasting or streaming, and it's just combining that. But then the
So it's just a
localizers were
general
just like
streamer term,
whatever.
right? No,
Yeah,
because they
or
actually
it's
use
a
the term
term for
liver.
streamers. Yeah,
Okay. So it's
yeah.
not. So Nichi Sanji stole this first, huh? All right. Because
I don't know
Hololive
whether it's stolen. It's just like a
Hololive doesn't
general.
use the term livers. We use the term talents.
No, they use the livers.
Oh,
they
they
use
don't.
they use it all the time on the Japanese side, regardless of whether it's
Holo
Hololive or
the
Nijisanji.
Hololivers. Okay, sure. The term.
They only use talents when they're doing like their official whatever the fuck thingies. But anyways, any last words
What else?
on the series?
Basically, um, I've talked about everything I wanted to, right? They did an
Yeah. What
Asakoko thing, so that was cool on one time. Rip.
yeah.
What else?
So
Overall,
overall, do you think this is a series that a casual fan like that doesn't hate VTubers, but is just kind of like, wait, what the fuck is this? Would want to watch? And B, do you think it's something a VTuber fan should watch?
uh, for me personally, I
Hmm.
think that a casual fan could see how this is a fun show with like, oh, here's some VTuber references, I guess, but I don't really get it. They
Right,
could
right, right.
see the well, to be fair, it's a better role. It's a better showing of what a VTuber is than
A
what the
tamer
keys.
representation. Yeah,
Yeah, than what the Kizuna I show Kizuna no Allele was, because
yeah.
Kizuna
Yeah,
no
I mean,
Allele
he's
just
not
tried
an
to be
Leo. It's just let's not talk about that. Yeah,
he tried to be like this fantastical thing about being a
yeah,
streamer.
that's not. Yeah, that's not even a thing. It's just he's not Leo was something we should forget about. Yeah,
But
yeah.
this one, this
um,
one shows the OBS and like how a company works and how
yeah.
VTuber interacts with their fans and how the streaming software works and how how collabs work. This is how we plan an off collab and you know and what we talk about during our streams.
Yeah.
So it's
And
pretty good. It's
then
pretty good at that for a general audience. Would
okay.
that would that would that not be not the man or not the Umaru-chan of VTubing, but the man girl of VTubing?
Yeah, girl VTuber anime, yeah. Okay, and then
You
for
don't know
VTuber
what
fans.
like man girl, right? That's
Yeah, yeah.
the is that the one about making a manga? Am I getting this reference correct?
Yes. There are a couple of other series, but yeah, manga is also about making a manga. Yes.
So yeah,
Um,
it is the man girl of VTubing and showing what how a VTuber
okay.
streams. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Good job.
Yeah. And then for VTuber
Now,
fans, would you still recommend it?
uh, see, now that's the part where this depends. What kind of fan are we talking about?
Okay.
Are we talking about a fan who's deep in the rabbit hole, or a fan who's just like, haha, I only watch EN streams?
If
Because
it's like
those are
okay, well,
two.
let's give 2 examples. Let's
Yeah, those
say
are two
you okay,
different things right
let's do
there.
like let's not like a lightning round, but just like a quick kind of like yes because and then like a sentence or whatever. Okay, so let's say I was just like all I watch is like Doki Bird clips every once in a while. Would you say yes, no?
Uh, you want to say? I want to. I kind of want to differentiate as pre-myth and post-myth. You know what I'm saying?
So
No.
like Hololive?
Because I want to say Hololive Myth definitely. Uh, that's the one that kickstarted the EN sphere streaming. Since you're
Okay.
mentioning Doki Bird, so
I guess just like let's say I was just like a general kind of like I watch like V Shoujo clips or whatever, like random like fauna stuff that kind of
Mm,
floats up. That sort of like would you say yes or
mm,
no?
if it's fauna, no.
Okay.
Maybe because this is the wilder side of VTubing, because
Okay.
it kind of shows like,
Because
oh,
I was kind of
I'm
thinking like
drunk.
the general kind of
Oh
like
yeah, oh
fauna,
yeah.
Narissa, crony, kind of that line.
I know, those are there's again there's subsets of VTuber watchers even within the EN sphere,
Okay.
because there's Hololive. We're not gonna count Niji Sanji anymore. So Niji Sanji EN anymore. Sorry. Phase Connect and VShojo. Hololive's pretty prim and proper. They have managers who rein them in.
Uh,
Phase Connect and VShojo, they're more wild, and they do what they want, which I guess harkens back to the era of, again, 2020 VTubing, where people they were a lot more fast and loose with these kind of things before YouTube restrictions got, before before VTubing got even more popular, and then YouTube cracked down on them.
okay.
So
But then if they were to go a little bit more deep into the hole, you'd be like, probably this is okay.
yeah, but I want to say, like,
Okay.
if you were like this is the wilder side of VTubing, so I'd definitely recommend it if you like wilder VTubers, I guess,
Okay.
and whatnot, because there's not many prim and proper characters in here in the series so far, except for Shion, which is because she's the Hololive rep. You can't fool me.
Yeah.
I know my Hololive reps when I see them. Oh yeah, what else? Spire,
What would you?
Spire.
Yeah.
What what is gooning?
Yeah. Honestly, I wasn't very aware of
Is
it myself
gooning?
until I had to
What
ask
year
about
is
that myself
gooning?
a couple weeks ago. What?
Near. What is gooning? What year did that term come out?
What?
What
What year?
year?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what year?
Probably,
Yeah,
probably
bro,
like
when did they patch
fucking,
Gooning? When did they patch that in?
probably like 2018, 2019. I think is when it
We
started getting
got we gotta
popular.
see that
Really?
spike. Yeah, we gotta see that spike in like the Google search terms or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's
'Cause
what's
I was.
crazy. That's what's crazy to me because like I literally had not heard about that until like this year.
Yeah, same.
I had to
What?
ask. Yeah, I had to ask
Yeah, I had
somebody. Like,
never heard the
well, no,
term until like this year.
I had seen the term here and there, but I'd never like understood what it is. I thought people were just like saying it, or like they were obviously saying it in some sort of like sexual context, right? But I didn't know what the context was, so I was like, okay, I guess they're just like, but I didn't know it was like that. But I knew it was
Because
in some sort of
I
sexual
used
context.
because I watched this series. I know there was an episode 6, but I only watched episode 5 twice. Or
Uh
I
huh.
watched up to episode twice because I watched it both in English and in Japanese.
Okay.
So they use the term gooning quite a bit, and it's, even though it's censored, sounds like beeping, and I'm like, is gooning.
God damn it! All
That's
right.
apparently a new term. Also, top lel, top, because I know one of the VTubers, or
Okay.
did I mention her? Oh, whatever. The cat girl.
Hmm.
Cat girl. I don't think I mentioned her. What's her name? Whatever.
Yeah.
Nekoma Hirone. She likes Kusuge, and she uses the term top lel. She's voiced by Ayako Hashi, so that was cool.
Okay.
But yeah, the main
Um.
character says she's gooning quite a bit. Like, oh, I'm gooning to this
God
AMR
damn
stream,
it.
and I'm like,
So
ooh,
stupid.
when was this
Yeah.
dated? Whatever.
Anyways,
Oh yeah,
what would you
overall
rate
the
the series?
series, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. I'll
Okay,
say.
that's good though. That's good
Um,
to hear.
I think for a primo VTuber experience, you should still watch Virtual Sanwa Miteru because actual VTubers in there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, sure.
But this is for a modern audience and as an anime like medium, this is pretty good by itself.
Yeah, I think the structures are also different, right? Because it's like, how do I say this? It's like Virtual On is a little bit more of like a series of skits told by the people related to the jobs. It's like one of those YouTube like early internet YouTube videos where it's like um things an engineer would say or something like that, right? It's kind of like that line where VTuber Legend is a lot more a um I wouldn't even say it's like a mockumentary. It's just like a general kind of story dramatization of the industry or of like what's going on, right? So that's like structurally, it's actually still quite different, I would say.
Yeah, it's
So
it's more competent as as a story setting how it goes.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah,
So
it's
overall,
different.
I'd say it's pretty good. Um,
Hmm.
I'm still waiting for I'm still waiting for the actual I'm still waiting for the best ED of this series. They've teased it on the actual the virtual the virtual on or no the live on channel with
Hmm.
their with Awayuki's cover of Stellar Stellar. When's that going to show up in the ED? I'm just saying. Also, hot take. Stellar Stellar also came out in 2020, right? I want to say.
I forget. It's
Okay.
I don't keep track of what's going on with
This
these
guy.
things.
Let me see. Let me see if I know my thing. No, 2022. Damn, I'm so bad at this. Never mind.
I don't even remember my own age half the time. I can't remember years of these things.
Yeah.
But
When are they gonna cover other VTuber songs other than Stellar
they're probably
Stellar?
gonna run down the line. There's
When
been
are
a
we gonna
lot of
hit?
like, yeah, go on.
No, go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
I was just saying there's been a lot of
On.
interesting multi-ED kind of series. Like I know Roshidere. Roshidere is getting a lot of different like ED stuff, and now this one as well, right? So
Well, you gotta. I guess it's due to the popularity of the character. You gotta do character EDs for each one.
you
But
gotta
yeah.
have more,
Also, I'm
yeah.
wrong. Still at 2021. That still counts.
Okay.
But yeah. When are we going to do a Mori Calliope cover from this series? Because
The fact that the fact that that's like actually has a significant chance of coming out, just makes me not want to watch this series already.
I
To be
mean,
honest,
does Niji Sanji have any prominent songs other than? I mean, like if they covered a Norness
I
song, I'd be like,
forget.
oh, that's super cool.
I forget. They do a lot of covers, but I forget if there's any specific big ones that are.
But yeah,
I forget because
because
again I don't keep up.
when you think of VTuber songs that hit the mainstreams, you gotta think of Stellar Stellar and Suisei. So, you know what? I'll give
Yeah,
them an
yeah.
extra point for that.
What mal rating are you giving it,
My Mal
or the
rating
series?
was originally an 8, but now it's a 9.
Oh, 9 out of 10. Okay.
Told you, they get brownie points for me, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah,
All right.
if you like Hololive, if you like Niji Sanji, if you like VTubers in general, definitely check out this series. Pretty good.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, Toast. Again, I really did want Toast
You
to
sh-
give a proper review, and he did definitely give a proper review of this. So
why didn't
I'm
you want to
thankful.
cover it, Spire? What's wrong? Don't you love Niji Sanji?
I think you should have
Same case?
covered it. I think it was appropriate for you to have covered it. To be honest, especially after hearing your review of it, I think it was definitely appropriate for you to have covered it. But yeah, this is, yeah, I think it was fine, and you definitely covered a lot better on the references stuff than I would have done because I knew about most of these, but I just like forgot and I would not have connected the references correctly. So
Is that
um,
what's the famous 4chan meme with like the 4chan copy pasta where you go? Was it the Luis one for from Zero no Skyma?
which one is that
I have no
meme?
idea what you're talking about.
I mean, I know the Hololive reference with Matsuri screaming Fubuki like constantly. Fubuki, and all that. But it was originated from 4chan, right? Not 4chan, 2chan with Zero no Tsukaima.
I I feel like I might
That's a
know what meme you're talking about, but I don't. I don't
it's a
have any
deep cut
idea.
reference, but yeah,
Yeah.
she sure loves gooning.
Hot
That's
damn.
about it.
All right. Anyways, thank you very much, Toast, for giving a thorough, proper review of VTuber Legend, how it went viral after forgetting to turn off my stream, also known as VTuber Nanda ga Haishin Kiriwasuretara Densetsu ni Natteta,
By the
also
way,
known as
did you know
V-Man.
Oro Crony did the light novel reading 2 years ago? You should check that out
Oh,
because it's
okay.
also
Oh,
on
that's pretty good.
Bookwalker.
Yep. So check this out if you are interested in getting this sort of, I guess, more refreshing, kind of compacted take on the V2 on VTubers, kind of playing off that as a theme for an anime. So please check this out. Next on the line, we have uh Nier, I believe. You have also a series that I think, yeah, this one I was personally excited a little bit about, but I know again, I left it for you to cover. So
Yeah. I watched. Oh boy.
do you want me to try reading it here?
Katsute Mahou Shoujo to Aku wa Tekitai Shiteita, also known
Yes.
as MahoAku, or the magical girl and the evil lieutenant used to be arch enemies.
Yes.
This is the Bones series of the season.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting pick for Bones. They usually do, action shit. I think they're still in the fucking My Hero Academia mines for probably another
I'm very interested to see how
probably another
they'll climb
probably
out of
another
that.
few seasons. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
they'll pull a fucking Attack on
But
Titan
it's
where
like,
they'll have
it's kind of whatever. Bye. See ya.
My
Especially
Hero
since after the
Academia,
ending.
the final
Yeah.
season,
Yeah.
the last chapter, part 2.
The problem is the ending, right? Because everybody's already so pissed off at the ending. And I
I
feel like they'll
mean,
just be like,
you see that
sorry
like
guys, we're out.
you see that like the people weren't like, yeah, the problem with Attack on Titan is the ending as well, right? Like
Yeah,
people
that's true.
hated that ending. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, they're in it for the long haul, right?
Yeah, I
They're
mean, my pet theory has always been for these sorts of series. The problem, I mean, the ending is one thing, but the problem was always the pacing and not the ending,
yeah,
right?
of
It's
course.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But
also, can I, if I can mention just something else real quick, or just on the actual, on the topic of MahoAku itself, MahoAku is originally made by, it's a manga original made by, I believe, who was the author here? It was.
Fujiwara Koko.
Yeah, Fujiwara Koko, who did Inuboko Secret Service, Inuboko
Yeah.
Secret Service as another manga, and this is a similar kind of like shoujo-ish series, but the author unfortunately did pass away before finishing MahoAku itself. So, this was kind of, again, this is like it's almost in like a it's in a similar situation to Zero no Tsukaima, right, where the author passed away early and the story was kind of never really none of the manuscripts were really written out like it was
Yeah.
with, say, Berserk. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And unfortunately, there's only 3 volumes of the manga here.
Mhm.
So there's not like a lot of material, which
They're
leads
gonna go Akame get
into
kill. They're gonna go Akame get kill
yeah.
style,
Well, it
just
leads
like change it. Yeah.
into the main thing is that this is a 12-minute short, um,
Uh-huh.
which I didn't expect. I thought it was gonna be a full, but yeah. So essentially, this series is a romance-focused comedy series that's pretty episodic. And the basic premise is the main character, Shun Miller, is like basically the evil lieutenant, general. He's like he's the big bad. And
Yeah. Yeah.
his whole thing is that like he's the cold, calculating, emotionless strategist of the evil corporation, right? Who's
Is he sort of can I ask something? Like at the beginning of the story, right? Is he is he cold calculating and like sort of like a tightwad kind of like oh like I just gotta get everything perfection? Is he kind of like doing that? Or is he sort of
so
depicted more as like a lanky kind of relaxed, like, oh yeah, I'm just a fucking genius kind of vibes?
yeah, so the beginning of the story is literally when they first meet. So
Okay.
there isn't really any like
Oh, okay,
there
okay,
isn't
okay.
any really like pre-established like character of who he is before, but
Mhm.
they basically just say like, yeah, his reputation is that like he's cold, he's calculating, and like whenever
Mhm.
he's on a mission, he has like no emotions, right?
Okay, okay,
Um,
okay, okay.
but pretty much the opening shot of this series is them meeting, right? And he sees her, and his glasses fucking explode, and there's fireworks going off, and there's like a Ferris wheel in the background that lights up as a big heart. Um, and then there's like this sort of storybook like overlay that's like it was love at first sight, right? Um, so
Alright.
he falls in love with her, right? And her as a magical girl, um, the uh, the female lead, Mimori, um, she kind of doesn't really want to be a magical girl that much. Like she's not really like this series isn't really about the magical girl stuff that much. It's sort of just an initial like setup for the gag basically of like them the fact that they shouldn't be, hanging out together and stuff.
Yeah,
Um
and also this also has like a lot of like almost throwaway references to certain other magical girl series, which I'll ask later. But yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um so she doesn't really care that much about being a magical girl, and pretty
Yep.
much all of her time is spent doing part-time jobs to make ends meet because she's poor as fuck. Um, and so, that combined with, her cute, looks and her behavior, he falls for her even harder, and he basically vows to, support her, right? Um, the issue is he has to, sort of keep up appearances with the evil uh, corporation, world domination faction, and he sort of has to live this sort of tightrope life where he's buying gifts for the magical girl, all the while trying to report that it's all part of the mission, to take her down, right? Um, and it's mainly comedy focused. It's super 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 like sappy, cheesy like romance. Um, there's not really like a lot of story. It is pretty much all like pretty much the first few episodes is like you know him being like, how do I like why do I feel this way about her, and I should be taking her down, and then like immediately after he buys her like a thing of cheesecake, and then they go on like a dinner date, right? um and then they do
Okay.
sort of sappy gags where she acts cute, and then he like freaks out, and his glasses break, or he starts punching a tree or something because
Hmm.
it's like moe overload, right? um
Yeah.
it's that type of
And a lot
humor.
and most of the series is that sort of like back and forth, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Because I
um
was it was very similar in Inubuku, except obviously in the latter half of the series, not even latter half. It's like I want to say latter one third, the last one third to last one fourth to last one fifth of the series. There was a sudden, oh, by the way, we need to do an actual overarching story kind of thing, and that might be similar to what happens here. But for right now, it's pretty much just the kind of cutesy kind of
yeah,
back and forth, right?
I
Yeah.
have a feeling it's probably going to be somewhat similar because um I don't think she's shown up yet, but there is supposed to be like a rival magical girl. um
Uh,
and I don't know if
but
that's
even the
gonna.
rival magical girl it might end up being a
Yeah,
comedy
it's
shtick, or
probably going to
yeah,
be mostly another comedy gag, but I'm assuming
yeah.
that aspect is probably going to move some aspect of the plot forward, right?
Right, right,
Um,
right.
but yeah,
Can I
besides,
also ask? Can I also ask real quick?
yeah.
Um, I was looking through some of those characters. Can you tell me how many how many Megacure references this bad boy is holding in right now?
So there's a lot. So they do. So obviously, pretty much I feel like any like modern magical girl series that has like a comedy aspects to it, like at all,
Uh-huh.
is going to throw a good handful of Maguka references, right?
Yeah, if they are
Um,
referencing something, yeah.
yeah, and this one takes the form of essentially parodying Cube, right? Where
Yeah.
Mimori's sort of familiar is this white cat thing,
Hmm.
who's voiced by Shinichiro Miki, who I think most famously is the voice of what's his name? The hat dude, Kisuke from
Hmm.
Bleach, and James from Pokemon.
Yeah, he
Um,
does a lot of like kind of like lanky, kind of thin, like kind of
yeah,
dry male roles. Yeah.
and he does this sort of sleazy Yakuza voice, right? And like
Yeah.
basically they paint this like cat dude as an absolute fucking scumbag, right? He's
Yeah, yeah,
basically
yeah.
ruining Mimori's life. He's siphoning like all of the cash she makes to, fund his own like smoking and alcoholism addictions. And they basically portray him as a Yakuza, right? He
Yeah.
he tries
She's
to
QB.
like
Yeah.
yeah, he tries to like effectively whore her off to like escort services and like
Hmm.
sell etchy videos of her when she gets attacked by monsters and shit. Um, and there's a bit where Shun, like, Mimori sort of admits this to Shun, and he goes into like this fucking evil, like arch villain rage, and he literally rips um, the familiar's head off and then like kills him. And the familiar's
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, I don't care, because we can't die, so I'm gonna be back later, right?
Right, right.
Um, but yeah, there's quite a few references there. Um, and then the rival, magical girl also has another familiar who looks fucking rancid. He's like this balding, like he's got like this balding, like long hair, but he's like this muscular bird creature. He looks
Uh-huh.
fucking nasty. He hasn't shown up yet though. But yeah, there's quite a few
It's
references.
interesting how it's interesting how there's all these like the magical girl character and such a Meguka, right? And Kyubey and all these other like characters, and it's like the world is built up around this magical girl, obviously plus the evil organization, but the focus is a little bit what stands out to people, what stands out to viewers is the magical girl aspect of it, right? A little bit more
Yeah,
than the evil off, and then but yet the main character, really, the character that's doing a lot of the thinking and kind of acting and decision making and kind of wheeling and dealing is the evil organization officer main character and not the magical girl that's standing out,
yeah.
which is yeah.
There is quite a few gags with the evil organization stuff where like he'll come back and there are like these there's like the army of like faceless like villain henchmen dudes, and
Right,
the
right,
gag with them is they don't like speak. They just make this weird like almost like bird crowing sound, where they're just going like over and over again,
right.
and then it displays what they're saying as like text on the screen, and everybody kind of just like like talks to them like that's totally normal, and they're pretty funny. They're pretty they're basically like they act like maids basically around
Mhm.
the headquarters of like the evil villain um, place. But yeah, there's also like the other evil villain, like council members that are sort of breathing down his neck that are like, hey, aren't you supposed to be like defeating the magical girl? Like, what's going on, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And there's some gags there, but yeah, I think a good amount of the humor is sort of focused on like the whole magical girl aspect and how like she doesn't really want to be a magical girl that much, and pretty much all of her time is spent working like these fucking minimum wage jobs and shit.
It's interesting how there's like that world is set up, but it always feels like, especially since it's that sort of Mahou Shoujo, like raising magical girl raising project or manga or all these manga variants. The wondrous part of this Madoka variant of the magical girl trope, or the magical girl genre, excuse me, is that it always feels like it's about to fall into a deeper story, right?
Yeah.
That just by having Madoka setting by itself, you're always like, is this gonna go into a deeper arc? What's happening? But
Yeah.
it's not. The girl is just like, yeah, I'm just a fucking hobo, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have
Yeah.
any money.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, a lot of the focus is just basically like it's not really plot focus. It's like just comedy and like a lot
Mhm.
of the lovey-dovey scenes.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
it's like really sweet. Like it's you know
It's a very interesting, like, because it really messes with the anime fans' mind in a sense, right? Much more than a lot of maybe other series would, because you're always thinking again, it should be this way. It feels like it's going to do some mega clear shit, but then
yeah.
it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely
Yeah.
got those moments where it's like, is this about to go like somewhere that like like is this about to like tone shift like super hard?
Yeah,
And then
yeah, yeah,
the series is like, nope, back to romance, back to
yeah.
comedy.
Yeah.
It's quite good. It's very sappy. It's very cute. It's very wholesome. The comedy is really good. It really helps that Shun is voiced by fucking Yuki Ono, who's, you know, pretty much a
Yeah.
master at fucking doing the whole, you know, slapstick comedy stuff.
Hmm.
Mimori is voiced by Nakahara Mai, who does
Also a
these,
veteran, yeah.
yeah, she's doing this very sort of uh, almost like sleepy, emotionless,
Hmm.
you know, breathy voice. It's quite good. Um, like I said, the angel is voiced by Miki Shinichiro. A few of the other characters are quite good. Formal Halt, who's like this weird, almost like fanboy of Shun, is voiced by Kenichi Suzumura. One of the other council members is voiced by Ayako Kawasumi. You have Shimonohiro there. Um, Toyama Nao. There's a lot of big names on this, and they all do
Yeah.
a very good job.
Yeah, I mean, they all kind of like fit the casting quite well too. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like, yeah, keeping that tension up.
And yeah, the fact that it's a short as well, it's 12 minutes per episode. It keeps the
Oh, okay, it is a
yeah
short. Okay.
yeah it keeps the comedic pacing really brisk. And I think it helps overall. Again, I
It also
feel
gives
like
them an
it
out. It also gives them an out because if it's like a
yeah
short,
I feel
they
like
don't
it
have to put
being
as
a
much
short
emphasis.
yeah
Yeah.
they don't have to worry too much about the ending. And
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
also don't have to worry as much about
Okay.
running out of material, right? Because
Okay. Okay.
again,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
there's only 3 volumes of the manga, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's very self-contained. It's very sweet.
Mhm.
It's really just an overall really like wholesome, sweet package. And
Mhm.
again, it's Bones, so the audio visuals are really good.
Pretty good. Pretty
They
good.
do they do the magical girl transformation in the first
Oh
like
shit.
3 episodes, and it's really
Uh-huh.
good. There's a lot of
Fuck yeah. That
yeah,
that's
there's a
like
lot of
that's one
like
of the core points. Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of like flowing flowers and you know, there's sparkles flying everywhere and the the clothes like, you know, materializing onto her body. It's done really well. And then when it's done, like when the transformation sequence is over, she like falls out of the sky, like out of like a big star of flowers that like dissolve into the air. It's very flashy. Um and you know, there's a couple not really action scenes, but you know, like shooting fireballs and stuff scenes, and they're all animated very well. Um, the color palette for this is also super nice. It's very, you know, pastel, very bright. Um, it's very warm. The first episode, there's a scene where they're doing like a sort of like a lunch date, right, where they're eating. I think it's like a shortcake under like a gazebo or whatever, right?
Mm.
And the color palette and the sort of shading used, it was really reminiscent to me of Garden of Words, if you remember that.
Okay, okay, I see where you're going.
It was
Yeah.
like slightly less green Garden of Words. Um,
that's not. To be fair, that's not a very high hurdle to hit. Slightly less
yeah,
green
yeah.
Gardevoir, yeah.
Garden of Words is very
Gardevoir is
green,
very green. Yeah,
but it really reminded me of Garden of Words, and
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. I know what you're going.
yeah, it's really nice looking.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm
Overall,
surprised that Bones took this up because Inubuku was JC, right? I think. Yeah, I feel like it was JC. Um, I always whenever I forget something, I'm like, yeah, it's probably JC staff, right? But
yeah.
it was David. It was David production.
Damn, it was David production.
The-
Wow,
So this
different
author
era.
got one series done by David production and the other one done by Bones. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very interesting pick. I remember they announced it
Mhm.
like I think a year ago, 2 years ago, and I remember
Uh-huh.
people were like, "What the fuck, dude?"
Yeah, 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 just
Um,
like some random shoujo series. Like, what the
yeah,
fuck? Yeah,
it was definitely an
exactly.
interesting pick, but they did a good job, I
Mhm,
think.
mhm.
And yeah, it's a
Yeah,
very sweet show. I think it's definitely worth checking out. If you're a fan of romance, it's definitely worth checking out because again, it's like just like cuteness overload.
mhm,
It's very sappy. It's very lovey-dovey. You know, they're really hammer home that like these two are like head over heels for each other basically.
mhm.
Um,
Yeah,
and if you like comedy, it's pretty funny. I think the comedy is really snappy. Again, the
mhm.
pacing of the fact that it's a short really helps that. Um, and yeah, overall, I think it's just a really solid package. If it's
Yeah.
you know, if this is up your alley, there's really no reason not to check it out. So
And again, I mean, this is a real one because it's like usually doesn't really hard like into these sorts of series. So if he's
yeah,
appreciating this sort of stuff, yeah,
I typically avoid romance series a lot because, you know,
yeah.
I feel like these days a lot of times romance is like a lot of will they won't
Structurally, yeah,
they.
it's yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
oh, you know, they like each other, but are they really gonna tell each other that?
And
Um,
then a second girl comes in, and you're like, God damn
yeah, and
it.
this is kind of sort of like they don't obviously they're not like kissing and shit all the time. And they're not
Mhm.
like, oh, I love you, love you, but like they're pretty much like they're constantly like pining for each other. They're constantly telling each other like, you know, I can't wait to see you again. You know, they're basically just like, yeah, I love you, right? And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really cute. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, pretty good. Guess any last words plus I guess your score, please.
Score. I mean, for what it is, I think it's probably a 9. I think this is a really
Wow.
good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a really good package just overall
Mhm.
for what it is. Yeah, definitely recommend.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Nier. I want to get a proper review out of you for this too, because again, yeah, I was, I don't know whether I would say like a super hard fan, but it's like I did like reading Inibuku as well. I guess closet guilty pleasure of mine slightly, but
Yeah.
so I was looking forward to this a little bit as well. So again, if you do like that sort of um an interesting, I guess, like draped over premise with a magical girl, but a good, I guess, overall rom-com romp. That's like a short series. Please do check this out. It is again, Katsute Mahou Shoujo to Aku wa Tekitai Shiteita, also known as the magical girl and the evil lieutenant used to be arch enemies, also known as MahoAku. This is Bones, adaptation of a manga original. Unfortunately, the manga is incomplete because the author did pass away, but again, the anime is probably going to be fully again based off the what is remaining of the manga. So please check it out. Next on the line here, Dark. What do you have for us?
All right, I have a YouTuber series where we're back. We're back to YouTube.
Yes,
I
and you have
have
one of the PA Works series, right? For this year,
yeah,
one of three, I think, is the PA Works series.
at like random trivia stream it. Um, but their main thing. Oh, Wait, what? Hold on 1 second. I'm just double checking to make sure that the. Yeah. Okay, that was it.
Stream is back on now. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say mine died for a second. Did I lose
Haha,
connection?
speaking of YouTube,
Weird. Anyway,
but we're not on YouTube.
Yeah. It's
right, yeah. So the main crux is that while Masaki is with this Harikiri Sisters group, she winds up having a falling out with the other two members, and during a live stream, she punches one of the other members in the face.
okay.
Yeah, and so that basically leads to them just cutting ways with her. And then like while she's sort of getting drunk and dejected at night, watching watching the stream of the other two members essentially announcing their their mutual going of separate ways. She winds up what would you call it? Getting kicked out of the bar that she's in, and then she ends up in an abandoned hospital, just drunkenly like stumbling around, saying to herself, "Oh man, like this was like one of our first videos we did together," like sort of reminiscing about how like she was the one who even suggested they started making videos, but they kicked her out so unfairly. But meanwhile,
Right.
the entire time that this is being set up, it does very much like it's very much is implied like, yeah, Masaki is like an asshole. Like she is a dickhead.
Yeah.
And it was kind of reasonable that the other two fucking kicked her out. And anyway, while she's investigating, going through this abandoned hospital, she winds up running into Live, who is the pink-haired vampire girl, voiced by Fido's Eye. The main thing with Live is she is a vampire. She's been asleep for 20 years, and in her dream, she saw a girl who she like immediately fell in love with and wanted to drink her blood, and that just so happened to look exactly like Masaki.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, a little bit of hijinks ensues while Masaki is extremely drunk with Live at the hospital, at this abandoned hospital. And she winds up making a deal with her in her drunkenness. Like, if you, as a vampire, like, if you, if you help me get to 1,000,000 subs, like, if you make a channel with me and we get to 1,000,000 subs, you can make a meal out of me. And so Live immediately falls in line with this plan. And that's kind of where it picks up, with Masaki now living in the mansion with a series of other vampires. And so the vampire cast, we have Live, the like extremely energetic and like almost like a Kuriko from Raildex type scenario of her fawning over Masaki. And then you have Fu, who is the quiet, like shy girl, blonde-haired girl. And blonde-haired, blue-haired girl. You have Tokake, who is like an extremely degenerate Onesan type almost. Well, not Onesan type, but she's like a gambler. She's a smoker, a hoarder in her room, etc., etc. You have Yuki, who is the, what would you call her? Almost like she's a very much the straight man and also the like rules follower, essentially. Very strict character. And then you have Ichiko, who is like pretty much like subservient to Live, like an extremely sort of obedient follower who will go along with pretty much any of her plans. She's like a Genki girl type like lolly character. And pretty much
Like,
like a
what this
lot of the
is
series.
reminding me this, like, premise kind of is reminding me of is it's starting out like the surface level is something like Viral Hit, right? Where they're just going, "Okay, we're here to make YouTube content," or whatever it is. But then the characters structurally are kind of designed more like one of those uh, Teppen, the recent one where it was like laugh out loud or whatever that thing was, where it's like, they had the girls doing the manzai stuff, but then later on it was that show is delayed, and then there was like a couple of other like manzai related stuff, right? There was also something like Joshiraku, right? It's kind of
Mhm.
that. It's, to me, it kind of seems like that. The characters.
Yeah, I mean, the way they're doing a lot of this is sort of pretty like it makes a lot of sense with the way that they sort of fall in line, just because you have them filling in different videos essentially and like content ideas. So to semi spoil like a lot of the earlier, or not a lot, but like the earlier episode of like one, I want to say episode 2-ish or something, is them pretty much like blazing a trail on YouTube because Masaki is just having them film like themselves doing random shit with their vampire powers. Like they'll be flying through the air, they'll be taking like big fault, they'll be like jumping off a bridge and landing and like nailing the landing. The entire time, like, the video says like, oh, this is done doing like using CG, etc., etc. But they become extremely popular because they're doing these like crazy stunts. And their opening is like for some reason they're the Choo Choo Pop girls, but they like, so they have like those Choo Choo Pops, the like frozen like what do you call like the those like weird double segmented ice pop things or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, and they're just doing like weird shit with those for some reason. And so
Right.
they start racking up subs. They get like hundreds of thousands of views immediately. Masaki's like, oh my god, this is gonna work. Like we're gonna beat my other channel like so easily. Oh yeah, the whole point of doing this too is to show up the other two girls, like the hyped up sisters, essentially. Um, but also that Masaki like genuinely does seem to want to do like the sort of production end of content creation. Um, but Yuki, the sort of like the strict like proper girl, winds up finding out about it and pretty much destroys all of their stuff, like forces them, like tells them you have to delete the channel. And the reason why is because a character that I haven't seen yet in the show, she says if Mother finds out, like there will be hell to pay. And so I assume that's going to be
Mm.
like sort of the overarching, like the overlord vampire woman, essentially. And so the big problem was you're using your vampire powers on camera. Like, don't. It's the classic vampire thing of like, don't fuck this up for everyone else. Um, with like, don't let humans like know your powers. It's already bad. She was like, it's already bad enough that you brought a human in. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of where they start from zero and how they sort of write off the ease of just fully relying on vampire powers to make videos. And so what winds up happening more so is that there's a lot more. The vampire powers become a lot more of sort of like trivia and slapstick. Obviously, like they're slapstick because there's just straight up fights
Trivia about what?
sometimes. There's fights between the characters, so every now and then, with vampire powers like being involved. There's certain trivia of using like needing to be invited in to places to be able to get in. There's the way garlic affects them. There's some slapstick bits with
Oh,
sunlight.
like vampire trivia. Vampire trivia. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. There's some vampire trivia.
Yeah.
There's obviously YouTube trivia all throughout this thing, like whether it be
Yeah, yeah,
content
yeah, yeah.
creation, channel monetization, um, channel strikes, algorithm type trivia, and things like that. Um, so, there's like a lot of those things going on at the same time. And the way the show winds up going now, like is going like right now, is kind of like each episode is sort of a video idea. Like there's one episode where they have Fu, they find out Mazuki finds out that she can sing, and so she wants her to do a cover song. And so for that, that was probably the most serious episode, like so far. And that kind of gets into the, like, I won't spoil too much, but let's put it this way, like, you know, it kind of becomes Fu overcoming a like past experience. And also the, you know, the idea of vampires being immortal, living longer, outliving people.
Right.
Being sort of a general theme of the episode. But that ties back into getting the cover song done. You know, there's another one of them, you know, doing a challenge, an endurance challenge video of eating plates of garlic. There's
Are these like mini episodes within the larger episode, or like
so
how are these distributed throughout
so as
the
far as
episodes?
as far as the like cover song one, that was like the whole episode, right? Because it goes through the entire
Okay. Yeah.
character. It's a lot of like the character stuff. That garlic like endurance thing was kind of like a bit towards the end of an episode that like resulted from them like trying to find content elsewhere and essentially fucking up. And then Yuki is like, as a punishment for doing this, you now have to eat a plate of garlic. You all have to eat a plate of garlic. And then, you know, and then one of the girls, Tokage, the gambler, goes to Masaki like, well, here it is. This is content. And so that's kind of seems to be like a lot of what happens. It seems like the next episode that I did not get to, I think episode 5, is a them trying to like survive, like do like a survival challenge on an island. And so yeah, I think that's kind of just where this is gonna go from there.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're gonna have like a pachinko stream episode or something with Tokage. Not really sure what Ichiko's thing is gonna be, because her thing is that her ideas are kind of all not great. Like they're just kind of like either way over budget for what she's thinking, or just like not great ideas like whatsoever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But it does
overall,
kind of keep tone throughout all the episodes, right?
it does keep what?
It keeps this sort of like same sort of level of energy slash tone through all the episodes, right? And it's not just like suddenly, oh, we gotta do something like overarching like
Well, I would
story
say
about what.
at least so far, yes. Fu's episode
Mhm.
was kind of like the most somber. It obviously still had a lot of comedy in it. But it was a very like bittersweet episode. Uh, it did also, spoiler alert, it featured New York City and a lot of like pretty decent English from people.
That's pretty
So
good.
I don't know if they found like those, you know, like people who are living in Japan who like are actors or something from like Norway or some
They
shit.
found all the guys and English teachers and round them up. They're
Yeah,
just
like it very much like some of the delivery was very awkward, obviously, like some of it, but like a majority of it was like, oh wait, that sounds like shockingly normal. And it was like kind of jarring how
yeah.
normal it sounded. Like you're very much not used to hearing like normal English alongside, you know, like normal Japanese.
Right.
So very interesting dynamic there. But also very cool to see New York City, you know? Very cool. But yeah, so other than that, there is like I said, it does keep a lot of like super high energy and very like a balance between a lot of like like whether it be wordplay or slapstick comedy and stuff like that. So I would say that part is very enjoyable. I would be curious to see where this winds up going. I kind of hope it can keep pace. I'm sure it
Mm.
will have like a semi-drama, like, you know, or something that wraps up like
Probably in
between the
like the
cast or
last,
something.
2 or 3 episodes ish, yeah.
Yeah, and then they, you know, they realize that, hey, man, we need each other, you know, work together.
We're gonna
Um,
comedy it up together.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sure
Okay.
I'm sure it'll do a lot of that. Um,
Okay.
But yeah,
Audio visuals, real quick.
the audio visuals are phenomenal.
Okay.
These audio
I mean, this
visuals
P works.
are
I'm just surprised that they are maintaining this across 3 series. I mean, I don't know about the third one because I don't know whether I'm gonna be able to get to it or not for the review. But it's like 3 series, right? They're doing 3 series this season, so that's not a light job.
yeah. And so what I think is and yeah, so like I said, the audio visuals are wonderful. The audio is godlike, and one of the things that I realized after looking at it was that that may also, be down to some of the sound director. The sound director is the sound director for a little series called Angel Beats. Also the sound director for Asobi Asobase. So I think like the music pacing and everything, like when to, like when to kick into like some really weird track or like some really bombastic track and all of that pacing, like Asobi Asobase had an amazing, like especially for a comedy series, application of that. And sort of the choices of music that they had throughout each episode. Obviously, this guy's done a hell of a lot more. Satoki Ida. He's also done like, I mean, he's done a hell of a lot, like Buddy Daddies,
Mhm.
Persona 3
Yeah, yeah.
movies, Tsukigakure, Bang Dream, so on and so forth. Like he's done a hell of a lot of sound directing. And for a lot of these series, like I mean, I'm looking at even Hakume Tumakochi. I'm like, the sound directing was something that definitely stood out. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
been
yeah.
pretty cool. As far as director goes, I'm not sure is premiere directing. No, he was also the director
The
for Pretty
recent year anime?
Pikome.
Okay.
Yeah, Pretty
Okay, that's not
Pikome.
bad.
He was also director for. He's done a lot of like episode directing for a lot of good stuff. Kind of
Mhm.
like here and there, but I'm not really seeing any other like lead director other than this and Pretty Pikome.
Okay.
Yeah, that appears to be the only things. But I mean, so far, like pretty good showing, I would say. Like
Mhm.
I said, not really sure where this will go, but overall, it's been pretty good.
Mhm.
Yeah, and like I said, the music has been really good as well.
Yeah, OPED?
OPED is very very fun. The OP is Gimme Gimme, which is all of the vampire girls like CVs essentially singing the OP.
Mhm.
And it's supposed to be like, obviously like a lot of the OP visually is a mashup of them doing different like YouTube stuff.
Mhm.
But then the OP itself, I think, is, it's obviously supposed to be sort of like a live, like a dance type thing to be posted to YouTube. The ED and the visual style is like nothing. I don't want to say like it's not that it's not nothing special, right? Because like visually it's really nice, but it's not like a stylized like type thing, right? Like it is in the style of the show. The ED,
Mhm.
however, is in a completely different style that I'm struggling to like really say like what it is. Like it's sort of like a painted cartoony type thing, but not like cartoony as in like childish. It's just like a more simplified thing with
Mhm.
almost like these like chalkier like paint style type thing. And that's called Henshuten, and that's by Masaki's. That's like a Masaki CV type thing. That's Ikumi Hasegawa, and it's a like some of it is like a spoken, almost like and like slash rap type thing, and then the
Oh,
other
okay.
is a very like normal song. Like some of it is just straight up spoken, like spoken lines.
Almost like prose, yeah. It's
Yeah, the ED is really really good. I think the ED is very very nice. and it's just like I said, like visually striking, and also just the song itself is quite nice. As far as the VAs go, obviously I said, we have Fido's Eye as live. Masaki is Ikumi Hasegawa. Obviously another prolific voice actor, Kita, Bochi the Rock,
Mm-hmm.
Ubel, Sono Freeren, to just very, very recent series. But yeah, pretty star-studded cast. I think there is like one newcomer that I was like shocked was a newcomer. Oh yeah, I mean I guess also worth mentioning is Tokage's VA is Hitomi Ueda. So, Gold
Yes,
Ship
yes.
and very much
Gold
very
ship.
much managing to do a lot of like very similar inflections.
Yeah,
Yuki
high
is
and
Kai
high
no
tension, kind
Ai.
of like wonky. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then, Yuki is Kai no Ai. However, Ichiko, the blonde, like lolly type character, I don't remember who. I'm trying to like place who I was thinking this was because I wasn't. I. I'll have to see. I might have been thinking it was what's her name? But I mean, I might just be basing that off of like character appearance. I'd have to go back and listen. I might have thought it was Usaka Sumire. Just thinking of fucking what's her name from Chunibyo, Sanai. But
Oh, okay, yeah.
yeah, but it's a very like it's like kind of that type of voice, right? It's that type
Mhm.
of voice that Usaka Sumire does, like for that or for Colette, or but a little bit raspier. But yeah, this is pretty much a complete newcomer, right?
Yeah, yeah.
This is a voice actress named Yuina Ito, and it seems like strangely like her only other role was a supporting role in Zunda Horizon from 2017.
What? Well,
So
there are
I
some
don't know
people
if
like that where like
she may
they
have
they
also
get like
just
a
done
role
like
and then they just dip under.
yeah,
Yeah.
and she may have also done like video games or something like in
Mhm.
between, like who the hell knows, right? Because Maul does not list that, so I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Actually, there
one of the
are
things I
so
really
what I was
wish
thinking
Maul
was
did.
like what I was thinking was that I actually noticed at least a few of those where it's like there are a lot of up and comers, not up and comers, but like people that have had roles in 2017, 2018, and then they like dipped under the radar and like they're now just getting roles back up again in like more like bigger roles or like main roles in some series, stuff like that. And I guess the obvious reason would be that COVID-19 happened. And with COVID-19, as we all know, right, the number of anime that was airing dramatically decreased. Like it got halved essentially, right? And in that or
Yeah, it's only
the number of
150
anime
per
that could be
season.
aired and produced, right? Exactly. Went for 300 to 150, right? So because the number of anime that was actually airing and being out and providing like promotion for these voice actors and actresses were so decreased that they also, in that sense, it also made it so that the only people that were really getting uh a lot of airtime were the people that were already established before
Yeah, known
COVID-19 happened.
entities.
So
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I
So a
mean,
lot of
plus it's
people
probably also
got
difficult
17 of that.
to
Yeah.
yeah, like during COVID it would have been also like difficult. Well, not difficult, but you can get why. Not needing to do as
Uh-huh.
many casting calls, not needing to do as many like takes with more experienced people, et cetera, et cetera.
Hmm.
But yeah, so that definitely
But
could have
yeah.
been a factor. But really awesome to hear her here. I think she's doing a really, really, really good job.
Mhm.
And yeah, no complaints from me.
Okay. Uh, I guess any last words? And again, I guess the score from you.
I guess last words would be that I would recommend this to most people as of right now.
Okay.
If you like if you just like slapstick comedy, great. If you like random trivia, like YouTube vampire trivia, sure. Why the hell not?
Yeah.
If you like that sort of dynamic of like Kuroko to Misaka in Rail Deck series, like that sort of like fawning over thing, y'all get that with Live and Masaki. Um, if you like Fire's Eye, you know, um, yeah, just like all around, like these are this has been some really killer stuff.
Yeah. And I
This
and I
has
gotta
been very,
say
very
that
fun. And like I said, audio visuals are great. Like very, very
yeah.
good.
And I just want to say that, you know, we in this podcast have been relatively down on, especially myself and Nier, have been relatively down on PA Works
Hey, we're only halfway through,
before.
and I only got 5 episodes in, so it could fucking fall
Yeah.
apart. Like, who
Uh, uh,
knows?
uh,
But at least for now.
but before we've been down, like even from the start almost, with stuff like I Became a God,
Hey,
Aquatope, stuff like
to
that.
be fair, I was pretty positive on the day I became a god, and then you were
Yeah, and
like,
then it failed in
and
the
then
last
you
like
were
three
like, and
episodes.
then you were
Yeah.
like, you should watch one more episode, my friend. And then I was like, oh no.
Oh no! How many episodes did you watch, dear? And that was before the podcast. You're like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, like for
oh
all
my
I
god.
know, like this shit could they could get vaporized by the sunlight or something by the
Yeah.
and
Phew,
fucking
but yeah.
like
Um.
a mother
Yeah.
could become like a genuine threat or something. Like who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
But
So like ever since I want to say seriously Jaeger, they have had a little bit of rough and tumble. That was like 2018. So like I would say late 2018 to around 2021, they had a pretty up and down road. But ever since then, I think from starting from Peripikome, they went to Akiba Maid War, Buddy Daddies, Skip and Loafer, and now Sakuna and Mayonaka Punch. They've had a pretty good streak all the way up for the past couple of years. And, I'm hoping if I end up reviewing Nare Nare that it doesn't end up being complete crap. But, hopefully it
yeah,
doesn't
I
end up being
mean,
complete
listen,
crap. But,
man.
they've had a good streak.
Yeah, like look, I'm like what can I say? I'm a big
This
fan
is
of
original, right?
I believe
I
so,
believe it is.
actually.
Yeah.
There's something I did not. Yeah, this is an original.
Yeah.
Um, so, uh-oh. But you know, to say, right? Um, but yeah, like I said, really, just a really, really good series so far. Really good showing. Very, very
Hmm.
fun.
All right.
Um,
What would you rate it?
right now, I mean, this could bite me in the ass, but I'd say like in maybe like a strong 8, 8.5, maybe like a weak, a light 9 or something,
Okay.
if anything. Because like I said, like it's
We'll,
not,
we'll we'll see you next week for 30 minutes. Yeah. It's
yeah, I mean,
like
we'll see in a couple weeks, like in like a month, we'll see what the fuck happens. But
yeah.
like, at least right now, like this is like there are definitely not that many series right now that I'm like looking forward to just like burning through.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
just waiting for the next one, right? Over and
Mhm.
over again. But this is definitely one that I am, and this one's a really good one. And like I said,
All right.
damn shame they didn't email people behind the scenes to promo this before it came out, because I really think they could have done wonders if they just begged for free publicity.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you very much, Dark, for giving us the rundown on the second of three PA Work series that they're doing this season. That's a monumental thing again. I just want to point out. But the second one, again, the other one that we covered being Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. This one is also shaped up to be quite a decent one so far. It is Mayonaka Punch, an anime original. So if you do kind of like this comedy and running episodic kind of running around, uh, please do check this out. And I guess I'll be coming up here last. And as much as I might want to keep up the hype train of, good series to watch, I might have to ruin the fun a little bit. I am covering Make ga Oosugiru, also known as Makeine. Too many losing heroines. So this is, although it has INE at the end, it is not ine, it is Makeine. Too many losing heroines. Also known as Makeine, obviously. So this is originally this was I believe a web novel original that became a light novel original published by Shogakukan. This was the author being Amamori Takibi, with illustrations by Imiki Muru, who is actually the artist and writer behind Konobi, or also known as Konobi Jutsubu ni wa Mondai ga aru. This art club has a problem, and as well as character designer for Licorice Recall. So kind of offhand that even if the story was not that good, this series will pop for at least a bit because everybody loves illustrated covers, and Imiki Muru wasn't about to let this guy down, essentially, right? If you have the illustrator behind Konobi and Licorice Recall anime, you're not gonna, you're only gonna drop down so far. So, um, again, this was anime adapted by mostly A1 Pictures, with a little bit of background art and setting by Kusanagi Studios. So, what the general staff for this was that uh, Kikuchi Yuichiro, who was the animation producer, kind of drew out and gathered a lot of the big guns and the longtime veterans who are associated with A1 Pictures, especially those. He also drew a bunch of people who are related to the recent sort of A1 efforts on the Kaguya-sama season 3 team, right? So that he brought a lot of them together, and he gathered them together to work under the lead of one Kitamura Shotaro, who is this is his actual first major directorial debut, and this is actually only his second work in collaboration with A1 Pictures. He did work on, again, the Kaguya-sama season 3 storyboarding and episode director work. And he's done storyboarding and episode direction and some animation direction for stuff like Card Fight Vanguard, for Pokemon XY, for Inazuma 11, for some of the more recent Pokemon movies, but most of those been without A1. So this is him coming back home to roost alongside the rest of the Kaguya-sama season 3 team, as well as some other veterans here. So it is definitely an interesting team. So a lot of them, again, are long time veterans, both in and out of A1 Pictures, but a lot of them have been involved with A1 Pictures stuff. For instance, Yokotani Masahiro, huge veteran for doing. He's done series composition and script stuff across various series under White Fox, KyoAni, A1 Pictures, JC staff. Stuff like K-On!, stuff like Freeze, so on. Just a lot of stuff. Kikuchi Yuichiro, again, being involved with Kaguya-sama all seasons, as well as some of the, I want to say, 2011 Higurashi OVAs, and you'll see some of those connections kind of come into play. Chief animation director and character design done by Kawakami Tetsuya, who's a huge veteran all the way back to just the early 2000s days, and I think even further back, stuff like Sakura Wars, Scride, Full Metal Alchemist, and he's worked with at least a few other A1 Picture stuff, such as the Idolmaster animation, 86. He's done animation director work for stuff like Kaguya-sama, Oreimo, Sword Art Online Season 1, so on. 3D director, and this is where it gets a little bit interesting, is Kuribayashi Yuki of A1 Pictures. Again, worked with Kage-sama. You can see where the connections are here. The 2011 Higurashi OVAs, you can see where the connections are. Kanagawa, a little bit work on Kanagawa Jet Girls, Hamefura, the Otome, like the destruction flag or whatever, death flag stuff. And one last thing I want to mention about this 3D director is that he was also the 3D director for the Akunohana anime.
Oh
So
shit, dude.
so there is a part. So the opening for this series is very much based on the ending for one of the first ending for this series is based on a lot of rotoscoping. And for a second, I was just like, where have I? Is this? This is very Akanohana like. And then I was looking through the staff roles, and he was like, Akanohana 3D director. I was like, I mean, it was done much better than Akanohana, but dear God, you scare me for a moment. But yeah, he does a much better job here. Um, no trust, zero trust. But director of photography,
Did
Miyako, you
Akanohana
ahead.
even exist?
Yeah, was it a real
It did
anime?
exist.
Yeah,
It did birth into our reality.
exactly. It crashed into our timeline like a bad Doctor Strange
Yeah.
fucking a movie. But yeah, other staff members also being involved with stuff like Kaguya-sama, FGO, Silver Spoon, Fairy Tale, again, Onimai, sound directing, Licorice Recall stuff, Sound Guides on the Line. They're just the veterans are all over the place, and it's just a very, very experienced team that came under this director, and you can kind of see it in the audiovisual quality here. It's just very, I would say it's very solidly above average, and that's going to be part of my kind of scoring overall for this series. And there isn't a lot of, you can tell it's a lot of the animation it's not slowed down necessarily, but it's like, it doesn't have as many in between frames as you might expect it to have. Um, but again, there's not a lot of like running and like flipping over and like it's not a battle anime, right? It's a slice of life anime where they're just kind of sitting down or shooting fireworks or you know standing up or whatever once in a while. So a lot of these, although there aren't as many in between frames, and you can kind of tell in how the animation is, the still frames as well as the overall character models are just still very well drawn. And overall, I think it's balanced quite well, and both the audio, the visual quality within the series as well, or within the episodes themselves, as well as within stuff like the OPED, are just done very, very well. So it's a very good job of this team, this A1 Pictures team, that they managed to gather together. I just want to go over the OPED on that note, real quick. The opening is the music is Tsuyogaru Garu, featuring Mossa of Nekri Toki, yeah, Nekrai Toki, uh, by Bocchi Boromaru, who is sort of the female singer in this opening. Again, visuals are very high quality, so A1 just pulling themselves up together. And but I want to say the storyboarding, not necessarily like the visual like character design and stuff like that, but the storyboarding is sort of the very standard, just girls standing around a school staring at stuff or girls lying down on the floor kind of thing. And it's not that inspired, other than how the characters kind of sometimes interact with the credit lines and the kanji and the words and stuff like that. And so it was a little bit disappointing for me, um, given the visual quality, but N it was still good. I'm gonna link this to you guys, the opening here real quick so you guys can kind of check it out. But it was a little bit disappointing, the storyboarding and everything, but the visual quality is quite good. Um, the song itself is a very standard high tension J-pop Anna song, reminiscent of the early sort of 2010s openings for stuff like rom-coms. Again, the vocals are great. The composition not so inspirational. It's a kind of a very throwaway-ish Anna song. So again, that's that. There are two ending themes out so far. One is Love 2000 by Tono Hikaru, who Hikaru Tono, who uh, so I think this is this opening is a little bit more of, again, what I mentioned with the 3D director influence, where I want to link this as well. Uh, there's a lot of this rotoscoping going on and this filters to evoke this sort of early 2000s 90s style feel with this sort of like Japan cityscape as a focus, almost those sorts of like lo-fi tunes or whatever. And um sorry, the ED one, right? It's a lot of like rotoscoping and filters to evoke this older style, but the song itself is again very standard kind of older Anna song, nostalgic Anna song. And The ED, the second ED, is a little bit more. The second ED, which is "Crazy for You" by Yakishio Remon, who is one of the heroines in the female characters in the story. The voice sung by the voice actress Wakayama Shion. And this second ED is a little bit more of a modern rendition with like kind of watercolor style digital art. And again, I want to say both have an above average ED, both in terms of visual and musical quality. Although it does still kind of, it's more of like a nostalgic effect with an older style of Anisong for EDs. But I think they're definitely like a head up in terms of overall quality above the opening. I think the opening is a little bit too flat for my tastes. Although again, the visual quality is quite nice. So that's sort of what I mainly had to say about the audio visual quality. The BGM again also wasn't that noticeable. So going back over the voice acting cast. The voice acting cast is the main four characters or so. The main couple of characters are this sort of group uh, group of up and comers in the voice acting industry. Obviously, couple of them already have a decent number of roles underneath their on their belt, but they're sort of these voice actors and actresses trying to really become the famous boom, like every kind of a lot of people know their name, A-listers and S-listers that we're looking for. So um, two of them are a little bit newer, right? So we have Tono Hikaru, as one of the main girls, Yanami Anna, who she's had a main role in Car 5 Vanguard and a supporting role in Uma Musume. And we have Terasawa Momoka as one of the other girls here. Again, she has a main role in Yusuke Sanchi no Yon Kyodai, the four Yusuke brothers, siblings, as well as a supporting character in Blue Archive. And then they're kind of supported, buffet from the back by, again, these sorts of new, more veteran up and comers, I want to say, is how I would describe it. Again, in Wakayama Shion, she did. Takina, one of the mains in Licorice Recall. She did one of the mains in SSS Dynazenon, and one of the mains of Police in a Pod, I believe. And as well as the male character being played by Umeda Shuichiro. So again, he's done a lot of recent male main character roles. Tenshitsuki, Zom 100, Chikimori-san, Shoshimi and stuff, so on. So I think these voice actresses and voice actors will definitely, I think if they keep on this trajectory, will become proper, real common A-listers like an Uchida Maya, like an Uesaka Sumire, if they really kind of flesh out properly. But they are, again, a little bit more green behind the wet behind the ears right now, so to speak. Supporting cast, a lot of the standard names that you might see these days: Kanzaki Atsumi, Waki Azumi, Anzai Chika, Saito Chiwa, Gueda Reina, stuff like that, Uesaka Sumire, so on and so forth. So, the people that you kind of see all the time. So yeah, that's sort of the staff, the audio visuals, and I'm gonna go straight into the story now. I'm gonna read off the premise real quickly here. Plain, boring, and friendless Nukumizu Kazuhiko has witnessed something completely baffling. Popular girl Yanami Anna was friend-zoned by her childhood friend and crush. In fact, all of the popular girls around him are getting similarly rejected by the boys they like. Without realizing it, Kazuhiko becomes entangled in the relationship drama where all the leading heroines are losing out on love. Can you keep their spirits up and help them find happiness? So I did read a decent amount of manga here, and I went through all the episodes, and this is essentially pretty much similar to what it says on the label, where it's about the MC coming across one of the girls getting rejected, and this happens multiple times. Well, multiple times throughout the series, and in each of these cases, he helps them with stuff, I guess, emotional therapy or with problem solving, and where the problem is sometimes like taking the courage to confess or getting through the matter or whatever. And it's that sort of vibe. And it's essentially Oragairu. Let's be real here. It's Oragairu, for those of you who don't know, Oragairu is my youth romantic comedy is wrong as I expected. I think that was the name. やはり俺の青春ラブコメは間違っている or something like that, right? Um, the structure is extremely the same. It's this MC who's kind of just like, yeah, I'm kind of out of it. Like it's not necessarily that he's acting cool necessarily. He's just like, yeah, I'm not in this in group, bro. I'm a loner kind of vibe. And then he gets caught up with it and he provides the solutions or he provides emotional therapy to the girls. And the girls are, kind of nice to him and he's nice to them back and all blah blah. But it's not a hero. But they're doing all these things, right? So it is again essentially Oragairu, and the MC is premise wise supposed to be not really that heavily involved with the girls, and he's just supposed to be the psychic like helping them, but is essentially the structure is essentially a harem MC. It is a rom-com harem MC, and the girls are like, huh? he's he's actually nice. And they're doing the standard like fan service scenes here and there with the girls in the locker or like them blushing whenever he says something unexpectedly nice. And then, the girls sometimes, acting nice to him back and blah 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 blah. It's the same shit. Um I would to the people who are all out there that are like, this anime is so unique. This anime is about the girls who lost love, or the anime about heartbreaks, or trying to write these weird video essays about how unique Makeine is. I would say don't waste your time. It's not. You guys are sort of missing the forest for the trees, right? There are these slight variations that I'm going to talk about in a bit within the story, but these variations do not structurally make this a unique rom-com or make this that much different from again something like an Oregairu. Right. So the variance I would say from Oregairu, again, this sort of emotional therapy problem solving kind of thing, um, in a school life setting, is twofold. One, there is compared to Oregairu, there's much less drama about the individual backgrounds of the characters. So what I mean by that is that there's much less like my family. I am the only daughter of a Zaibatsu, and then I was raised by my father to be a prim girl, but then never enjoy all that sort of like dramatic shit, and like I gotta never enjoy stuff, or like I got involved in this like betrothal, like forced marriage, or some fucking bullshit like that. There's much less of that in here than there was in Oregairu, and that was part of why Oregairu sucked a lot of donkey cock, right? It's part of why I
What?
hated Oregairu a lot because
What?
there was just like all this background drama individually for these characters that are like, I was actually part of the mafia gang, or like I was bullied, or like all this fucking trauma dump
But
shit, right? Um,
dude, Hachiman is so based and cool and
Oh,
badass.
he's an alpha MC, like the beta MCs. Oh my god, Chad life. Yeah, it's I fucking hated that part of Oregairu amongst the many things I hated about that series. But there's a lot more. The drama. Obviously, there has to be that drama to create the catharsis, to create the progression, right? A lot of that drama in Makeine is set upon the initial sort of relationships within the arcs of the female characters with the other supporting cast members. So the drama is immediately like, okay, here's the relationship. You are more or less sort of like a standard normal student or normal character slash human being. How are you going to get out of this? So that's where the drama comes from. So this plus the fact that it is like a very standardized like relationship interaction, right? The drama is much more muted, right? You're not in this thing where you're like, oh, the main girl is part of a betrothal or whatever the fuck other like drama kind of weird stuff, right? I'm so poor and I was bullied and all this crap, right? um the muting of that sort of drama into a much more standardized and real life interactions in Makein makes this definitely heads and shoulders better than Oregairu. Although again, that's a very low bar. And I would say that this is probably the main value of this series. This is why you should watch the series if you do want to watch it. Um, how and this also again makes it fall into less danger of railroading because if you have the problem with telling extreme dramatic backgrounds, like I am the son of a Zaibatsu. I am a super poor person. I was raised by strict parents to only play the piano and never make friends with anybody else, all that crap, right? The problem with these extreme backgrounds is that the author is forced to then railroad the MC into these sorts of characters to interact with them, right? Because it's much harder to find your regular run-of-the-mill cruel problem-solving MC with these different characters if they're all having their own weird, unique issues, right? If they're just regular characters, yeah, you might bounce upon them, you might come across them, and that might be a regular interaction that might happen in a series, in a story. But if they're all like super weird, elite, like dudes and whatever, it's much harder to create a situation where the MC, the regular dude MC with the hair over his eyes or whatever, is interacting with them. You know what I mean? So I think it helps with less railroading for sure. And that again, that's part of the value of Makeine, but it also still doesn't avoid the harem trap, right? Because the girls are still coming to him to talk to him about about their problems, and they're showing off all his problems in front of him, and he's like, "Oh, how about I help you with all this emotional therapy and blah 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 blah," and they're like, "Oh, you're so nice," That sort of interaction still happens, so it doesn't avoid the harem allegations, but it does make it a lot more palatable again than something like Oregairu. The second variation that from Oregairu and some other series of this nature, problem solving, emotional therapy, MC of this nature, right, is to um and I think the author, in my opinion, does this consciously, but to somewhat try and avoid the quote unquote, oh wow, this is an obvious harem criticisms, the author just tends to kind of throw in almost kind of disconnected bits and pieces of slice of life or deadpan comedy, slice of life scenes and deadpan comedy scenes. And he just continually like introduces like parts of the school and like other scenes of school life that don't really add value to the current storyline or the current arc. And I believe this is to change up the pacing all of a sudden to kind of like jar the reader into being like, wait, what's happening? This comedy, right? It's like this is such life, and to once that change of pacing happens, it is a little bit more acceptable to sell it as a general kind of slice of life. Oh, it's just a coming of age kind of thing to the reader. While structurally, at its core, it is still just like standard rom-com harem. Um, so adding these sort of disconnected, disjointed, offbeat slice of life scenes and deadpan comedy scenes, like when they're getting the lunch and then suddenly, boom, they're doing the introspection or they're talking with each other about how to, you know, get this one girl to um not be so moody or whatever it is, right? And or having this comedy scene about lunch right after the sort of introspective or not kind of interpersonal dialogue that progresses the current arc, right? That sort of stuff does make for a better pseudo world building, but again, a lot of these sorts of jarring, some slice of life interjections or these deadpan comedy scenes seem more like obfuscations. They seem more like just smoke bombs, right? To cover the fact that this rom-com harem structure is very standard and it's just happening right in front of our eyes. Because the author is essentially saying, like, oh, here are some more girls, but all they're doing is just mulling around the MC and, just doing comedy, deadpan stuff. But they're also doing some nice things for him here and there and blushing, while the main character also helps them out. And they're kind of, adding some fan service scenes and getting trapped in locker rooms together, or, making bentos for each other or whatever the fuck. But the main thing is their problems with the other dudes. So that's not a harem, right? So this sort of like back and forth, like, oh, it's not really harem, but it has all the harem elements, but it's not really harem, guys. And this, again, wheeling and dealing by the author is not really something that throws me off that much. It probably does throw off a bunch of other people, but it doesn't beat the allegations, right? This is a harem rom-com straight up, and it just doesn't beat it is what it is, right? And it's not really that much more unique than the other rom-com harem stuff. Again, I do think these two variances and the structure aside, I do think it's definitely much more watchable than Oregairu's by a long shot because A, I hate Oregairu with passion, but B, it both has a much better visual quality and or audiovisual quality in general, and it has a much more tolerable way of kind of smoothing out the dramatic interactions. So in a much more realistic and organic sense. So I do think it's much better watched than Oregairu if you are going to watch, one of them, right? But again, it doesn't avoid this sort of like it's just a rom-com harem that's more or less centered around the MC. Because despite what people might be like, oh, it's just the MC is just a Watson character. He's just a chronicler, bro. He's just watching the other characters kind of be emotional and kind of lead them along and break up with the other dudes, and he's just giving them tap, bro. Yeah, that's what they're saying on the surface. That's what the premise is saying on the surface. But the issue is the central evolving character progression, how the cast moves in terms of like how they think about stuff, right? Think about relationships, think about other characters, think about themselves, is pretty much mainly pulled forward by how the MC's relationship with the main girl or the main girl and the other girls, and how he kind of talks him into joining the club, doing the events. How he kind of bounces ideas back and forth with them when they're talking with them, and so if this was fully a series where it was the dude as one character and the other girls as deuteragonists, like index style, Toarama Jutsu no index style, right? Where it's like you have Toma, you have Accelerator, and you have the third dude, which I forget the name of, right? If you had all these like separate full main characters with all their super split up screen time, that would be one thing. But this is clearly not that case. This is the MC. He is interacting with these girls. He is helping them out, and the girls are like, "Oh, you're so nice. I went through my emotional evolution, and now blah 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 blah." Right? I'm blushing. Thanks for saving my cat from the tree. Whatever. Right? So because their emotional relationships and their emotional baggage and their personality evolution within the series is told along by the MC, you can't really say that it's not a very standard kind of harem interaction and a rom-com harem interaction. It's very evident.
Yeah, I mean, what have you been saying for like years now? Like the whole like saving, yeah, like you save like one of their
She's saving
cats
cats
in a
from a tree, yeah,
fucking
exactly.
tree, like
And they're like, "Oh, thank you so much." Yeah. Mhm. So and for the people who are like, again, like they didn't say he liked none of them ever say that they like the main character, bro. They're clearly liking the other dude. Note that these sorts of like the rom-com harem series as a category, like a general genre, the way we know and recognize it, we don't necessarily have to have some sort of hard commitment or proper resolution or declaration of love for it to be grouped underneath with these other sorts of like harem series. For two examples that I would like to note is one, Haganai, also known as Boku wa Tomodachi ga Sukunai, right? It had a terrible, not real fucking troll resolution that was apparently thought out by the author 10 years ago before the series ended, where the MC, the main character, ultimately, spoiler alert, didn't go out with anyone at the end, and she was just like, "Yeah, I like macked with this girl once, and then I just broke up, and then we just ended up eating dinner together." It's like there was no real like actual proper resolution or like you know like cathartic kind of finish of any kind. It was just like, "Yeah, screw all of you" kind of thing. So that was a series with a terrible, not proper resolution that people will obviously admit that it is a harem. And then on the other hand, we also have something like Seitokai no Ichizan, the student council's discretion, which literally the initial sort of setup premise was the idea of the MC thinks this is a harem, but it's not really a harem because all the other girls are just looking at him as a friend, like a confidant. They're all indebted to him, and they're just kind of, going along with this like harem play, right? Even though the MC wants to be real, kind of harem-ish, not really. Like there's like a weird complication near the end. But this is a quote unquote pretend harem or whatever it is. So they played with that as Seitokai no Ichizon played with that as a premise. And at the end of the initial sort of set of books, right, for that series, all the initial first generation girls moved out at the end. None of them went out with him, right? He moved out, they moved out all at the end, and he was left with sort of the second generation, kind of like how K-On! Did it, right? With one generation going out and the second generation coming in. So you in these two series, you have stuff that doesn't have proper resolution, um, doesn't really properly play out with like on premise level is like, oh, we're not a real harem, we're just making fun of the male character, bro. And yet, both of these series, Haganai and Seitokai no Ichisan, I think most people will admit, is a proper rom-com harems, are both proper rom-com harem series, right? So to say simply, right, just brain dead, oh, because they're not explicitly like, I like you, main character, in the series, because they're not explicitly saying that, disqualifies this series from being a harem is not really it's a very green eggs and ham interpretation. It's a very basic interpretation of what we know to be the modern rom-com harem genre. So um I would still consider Makeine very solidly within the realm of the standard rom-com harem genre, and within that again, much better than Oregairu for sure, but there is nothing that really makes this series particularly special or particularly so much better than other series. I would probably actually give this a below average score if it was completely average and done with an average audiovisual quality, because you guys know me again. I dock points for lacking novelty, right? So I would probably have given this like a 4.5 or 4 or something like that, or maybe even slightly less. Nah, yeah, probably 4 points at a maximum, if it was completely average. But I do want to give it some extra points just because A1 Pictures, just visual quality wise, absolutely delivered. So I do want to give it at least a point plus up. And with that, I would say probably it is a 5 out of 10 for me, for the series. But ultimately, don't believe all of the, weird anime documentary videos or whatever that are floating out there. They're like, oh, Makeine is this once so unique anime series that is about how the heroes lose or whatever it is. It's just Oregairu under a different name, and it's pretty much a very standard rom-com harem series. Don't let people gaslight you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have to be the bringer of bad news, but it is what it is. So, but yeah, I think if you do like this sort of like line of series, and again, if you do like Oregairu, in my opinion, you should watch Makin. It is a much more palatable series than that, and I guess it is a standard, romp. So if you like that, you should watch it. And the visuals are pretty on the candy for the eyes, so it's not bad. But I wouldn't expect too much out of it story wise, so to say. So, but yeah, that was pretty much all I had for my series, Makeine. It is Makehiroin ga Oosugiru, also known as Makeine Too Many Losing Heroines. It is actually, there's a lot of merch for this stuff already coming up in Japan when I was going around in like Akiba and stuff like that. And but it seems to be more of a, I hope it's a little bit more of a flavor of the month kind of thing. But yeah. So that was that. And we now move on to the news real quick here. Let's see this. There's been a lot of company news while I was out, to be honest. So I'm going to try to blast through it real quick. First, um, the light novel localizing and publishing company Tekitai Books announced on Monday that it is shutting down over the next months. So, Tekitai Books was founded in 2020. The company has licensed light novels such as "There's No Way a Side Character Like Me Could Be Popular," right? "Welcome to the Diner of the Exiled," and "World Teacher." So, very unfortunate. Apparently, De Vicente, who is Alejandro De Vicente, Vicente, the company's owner, recently had to create a new Discord server for the company after his Discord account was compromised. So they're already, they're. I don't think the company was in the best conditions, but obviously they're, closing down is kind of the end of the line for them. Very unfortunate for those localizations. Hopefully they get transferred on the rights and stuff like that get transferred on to another company properly. Next piece of news. The official website for Cartoon Network has shut down, and it now redirects to Warner Bros. Discovery's Max streaming service. So that's an end of an era. The website
Yeah,
also
that's a
lost its
shame.
video content.
No more,
Yeah,
no more Cartoon Network games. Cartoon Network
yeah,
Flash games.
yeah. Oh man, I
Damn
miss those
shame.
Flash games actually. God damn. Like
But
the
I
the
mean,
one
hey
where that
man,
you
that
had
was
to
a
like
big
go
part.
around. Yeah, yeah. The one where you had to like go around this like volcanic island and get stuff and like collect items. I remember that. Um, But yeah, which included the website also lost its video content, which included episodes of Cartoon Network series. A message on the redirected page informs viewers that they can sign up to the service for Cartoon Network shows. The page also states that cable subscribers can continue to watch Cartoon Network on cable television and connected apps. So again, very unfortunate. You know, this is sort of what happens with these older series and like, once they get merged back in, optimization. Obviously, Cartoon Network is not exactly on the way up necessarily, but it is a pity to see all these getting shut down. So next, Kadokawa Corporation announced on Monday that the company's book publishing business will gradually resume shipping in August, with daily shipping volumes expected to return to normal levels in the middle of the month following the cyber attack on the company on June 8th. The company also noted that it has restored accounting functions, quote unquote, owing partially to analog means. I swear to God, fuck. You know how I forget if it was like tax forms or whatever it was, like if it was insurance or whatever. And there was news in the Japanese, like there was Japanese news about how some like government officials were trying to carry like paper forms, like tax forms or whatever, across like a bill from one building to another, and then they lost like half of the tax forms because it was on paper and like a strong wind hit them or something like that. Something is going to happen with Kadokawa in a similar manner in the next, X months. I swear to God. It's just I, again, this is the danger of having large companies that are really just not even properly bothering to shore up against cyber attacks. We'll see what happens, but I'm not very confident in these larger conglomerates slash publishers' ability to fend off future cyber attacks for sure. But yeah. And also again, number blah blah Nico Nico stuff will return August 5th. The new version of the website, live streaming on the website and channels will gradually return to service throughout August, so on and so forth. So yeah. Um yeah. And the problem also is that they're resuming operations, but the information is still out there. Like they're not doing anything really about the stolen information, which is the
Yeah.
biggest part of the cyber. Like your Kadokawa coming back online is not what most people are worried about. Kadokawa getting their fucking asses like smacked while the cyber like hacker just like goes past them and steals everybody's credit card information is the important part. Like, do you guys not get it? Like, come on, guys. So, I don't know. It's very stupid. On speaking of stupid news, the Nikkei newspaper reported on Wednesday that Shogakukan, one of the major publishers of stuff like anime and so on, manga, light novels, so on in Japan, will release a new app in the United States and Canada titled Novelus that will use AI translation to release light novel series in English. The app is slated to launch next year. Nikkei stated the app will allegedly cut translation costs in half while also increasing the output of light novels in English.
That's
Oh
good.
my
That's a good
God.
thing. That's great.
The releases will also include world balloons with AI icons of the characters to display characters' lines, as Shogakukan told Nikkei that it's received feedback that Japanese names are hard to remember. uh, it's just the thing is, it's like what's even funnier is that how recently there's been a lot of people pushing back against the AI bubble is bursting. AI really can't do all the wild and fantastic things that you guys might think. Trying to apply AI technologies now is not going to prepare you for magical AI technologies in the future, because the magical AI technologies in the future will be so magical if they happen that you will need to reapply them anyways, right? You won't be
Yeah.
prepared for them with the current technology that you have. So, despite all these arguments against using AI by data scientists and by people who have literally been in the industry for years and years, telling everybody, hey, AI isn't like, unless you know a very specific, like, good, proper use case for AI, like, you're just not going to be able to use AI for everything. People are still trying to freaking, like, CEOs and stupid people are still trying to whack in AI into everything. And they're also apparently expecting it to be perfectly fine for the next, 5x years with regards to maintenance or whatever. And it's just so fucking stupid, man.
Hey man, Grok
And
2
the
is
only,
doing well. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Chatbots solve everything. Don't you guys
Yeah.
know? Yeah. But the next piece of news. What is it? Toei Animation revealed, even more great news. Toei Animation revealed the official animation promotional video for it and creative technology studio Strata Studios, Den Dekaden global IP project on Tuesday. Um, so this has the theme song Denshin Sanka by Amatsuki. Amatsuki is like a very famous like singer, and I think Utaite, like vocal IP or stuff like that. Um, So the project utilizes NFTs throughout its fan participation content, in which the characters who exist as Twitter accounts gain power through the support of followers. What the fuck does this mean? What is
Wow.
this like? What? Wait. Okay. God damn it. All right. So the Twitter followers will influence how the characters act through within like the story of the global IP, but then they also have NFTs in it somewhere. Is that what it's saying? Like,
Yeah,
well,
I
I don't.
guess.
Yeah. God, I fucking hate this shit so much, man. All right. Next piece of news. Game developer Yostar announced on Thursday that it has established a team to develop new mobile games in Japan. That's really funny how it's like, how before it was like Japan is creating, hybrid companies in China, or hybrid production studios in China, or like they're creating subsidiary, or not subsidiary, but like sister branches in, I don't know, like Malaysia or the Philippines or whatever, to help them, or subcontract to people. Now like Chinese studios are like, yeah, we'll create a Japan branch, I think. We'll casually just create a Japan branch. But yeah, they'll establish a team to develop new mobile games in Japan. The company has stated that it is planning on creating new IP that will appeal to players around the world. The company is recruiting a director and is also planning to open applications for other development positions in the future. Yeah, I mean, this is ultimately just um yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's like creating new IP that will appeal to players around the world. It's just create the anime mobile games. Like, that's what they're saying, right? Like, we just want to create more anime mobile game. That's literally it. That's all you need. You don't need to do whatever creative shit. Next piece of news here. Is this the? Oh yeah, this is the second to last piece of news I want to go over. IGN reported on Friday that Netflix provided them a statement regarding recent leaks of anime episodes, most of which have been announced to stream on the service in the future. Netflix stated that the leaks were initially reported internally before spreading online. What the fuck? Netflix told IGN, one of our post-production partners has been compromised, and footage from several of our titles has been unfortunately leaked online. Our team is aggressively taking action to have it down. Apparently, that team is global entertainment technology and localization company Ayuno. And Ayuno, they released a statement saying, uh, Ayuno is aware of a recent security issue involving unauthorized access to confidential content. Protecting our clients' confidentiality and ensuring the security of their content is our highest priority. We are actively investigating the security breach to mitigate any potential risks and identify the responsible parties. When there are material changes or information, we will make further statements. And like Crunchyroll came out with a statement as well, just talking about similar matters. And again, a lot of these security brand breaches and so on, and everybody's like, yeah, let's do mergers, let's like acquire all these companies, let's create these huge conglomerates, and let's suck everything in, and let's do AI, blah blah. And nobody's focusing on actual cybersecurity breaches. So it's very head ass is I think the term I want to use. So, anyways, the last piece of news that I want to go over real quick is a sort of people news question mark kind of thing. But the California Department of Justice announced on Tuesday that it and the San Diego Human Trafficking Task Force made 14 arrests and recovered 10 human trafficking victims in a human trafficking sting operation during the San Diego Comic-Con event from July 25th to
What the
27th.
fuck?
The
I forget, is
announcement
that when
added that the
that weed
operation
guy got nabbed that one time?
maybe.
That
The
Comic
announcement
Con? I
added
forget.
the operation involved law enforcement personnel that worked undercover within the event, posing as sex buyers to contact potential victims and posting undercover advertisements to solicit sex to catch traffickers. The operation recovered 9 adult victims and one 16-year-old girl. So, yeah, I don't know, I don't know what it is about these like comic cons and like these like weird like comic and anime conventions. Why does it gotta be like all these fucking orgies and like sex trafficking? Like, what's wrong with you people? Just be normal, man. Like, just read the comics, put the comics down, stop jerking off or trying to do illegal sex stuff, and go about your way. It is not.
No,
I don't know, man.
first of all, wrong. The advice should be at this point should be first go jerk off, then go to fucking Comic Con.
And then
What
don't
the
do the
fuck?
human trafficking. Yeah,
What the
exactly.
fuck are you doing? Go jerk off, then go to Comic Con. Same thing goes for PAX
Oh,
East, like,
yeah.
and all the anime cons where it's like we have
Jesus
the
Christ.
Toho orgy. Like, all right, guys.
God damn it. All right. But yeah, that was the last piece of news. And with that, we are finally coming up to our shout outs and call outs. Everybody here gets one shout out and one call out each. Shout out is something that you want to praise 5 out of 5 stars and can be any one person, place, or thing. And call out is the exact opposite, something that you will call out 0 out of 5 stars. I almost said 0 out of 0. 0 out of 5 stars, and it can be any one person, place, or thing. We start now with Nier.
Um, man, I don't fucking know.
You can start out with whichever order, or we can skip you if you want, if you're really out of ideas.
Nier, I'll do
yeah.
Nier, I'll do your trade offer.
Huh?
Give me your shout out. I'll let you have 2 call outs.
Your call-outs?
I'm trying to think of anything, bro. It's just
Yeah, okay, wait, Toast, you go first with your shout out call out.
But I want 2 shout outs.
No, just do your shout out call out, bro.
My shout out, man, I love MILF.
uh-huh.
Damn.
Bold
That's it.
What's your
statement.
call out?
MILF stands for Man, I Love Fate.
All right.
Fate is a very cool series. We should
So
talk about Fate.
Okay. So No callouts then. All right then. Dark. What about you?
I'm gonna call out.
Okay.
I, I'm gonna call out. Man, I hate Korea.
Damn. GG.
I bought this Korean fly swatter, electric fly swatter for $7. It sucks.
IS. Yeah, it's not good. Like that's why I never
Dude, I
like.
fucking
I never believe it when people are like, "Oh, look at all this like snapping and crackling." Blah blah. I'm like, nah, it doesn't work, bro.
It
yeah, that shit
works, but
doesn't.
man, it
Those
works, but
things
it's
like kind
loud.
of work, but oh yeah, I mean they're always
Also,
loud.
it's
Yeah, it's like you can just hear across in another room. Like
I feel like the ones that work are the ones that are made out of what do you call it? It's almost like, well, I mean, it's not really like fishing wire on the outside, but the ones with like that sort of like thin plastic. You don't want the metal ones. The metal ones are ass.
Mhm. Okay. Well, thank you very much. What about you, Dark?
Uh, fucking um, I don't know. It's been a long 3 weeks. Fuck it, I'll just say it. You know what? Shout out to my goat. Shout out to the queen, the boss bitch, Nancy Pelosi. I'll get political with it. Shout outs to her.
Oh my god.
Never thought the day would happen.
Between, yeah.
Bro is licked
Yeah,
out.
yeah. Shout out to the
Fully in the
grid, the
hands of the
deal
DSC.
maker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Oh Jesus.
yeah.
And your call
And
out?
then I'm gonna call out. Um, oh fuck, it's gonna be a weird. Actually, yeah, no. This is gonna be a weird one too. Calling out fucking. What is this called? Smart Sweets. Smart
Oh yeah,
Sweets.
yeah, yeah. We talked about this, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So Smart Sweets, they had a really good, in my opinion, sour melon bites formula that was quite good. I believe it was 100 calories per bag of the sour watermelon bites. It wasn't particularly big, and the other problem, like they were like they had a very like thick consistency, if that makes sense. They were like they all had pretty much the consistency of like Swedish fish, so they were really they were like really tough,
Hmm.
but that made them last really long, especially if you didn't chew them. So they were quite good in my opinion. But they changed
Hmm.
the formula, and now they suck. Now they are really bad. Um, Not only are they really bad, but I don't know what the hell they changed about their formula, but they straight up and this happened. I don't know. I'll have to ask my brother because I think he had some too.
Uh-huh.
Me and my mom literally had two of them, and within 5 minutes had heartburn, like really bad
Oh
indigestion,
no.
like two little sour watermelons, and I was just like boom,
Okay.
like it
God
was the
damn it.
opposite of a fast acting indigestion relief. It was fast
Yeah,
acting
yeah,
indigestion. It was odd.
yeah.
I don't think I've ever had something like do that to my stomach before. Like I've
Yeah.
eaten, I could eat dairy, I
That
could eat
sucks.
pasta, salt, like I could eat sauce, I could eat acidic things, I could drink acidic stuff all day. But it's like
Hmm.
literally two of these sour watermelons, and I was just like, boom, like you're eating Tums now for the rest of the night, which is wild. Like,
Yeah.
so, yeah, those kind of suck. And it's really unfortunate too because I really liked the old gummies.
Yeah, those are okay. Yeah.
I mean, I like that consistency in general. So like that and them not being as sweet as the like real sour watermelon gummies
Yeah, 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 yeah.
was really really nice. And then now I'm just like, fuck, I don't have the
Like, what do we
treats
do now?
anymore. Like
Yeah.
I guess back to not eating candy ever ever. Fuck. Like okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much. Near, do you have your shout out call out yet?
Um, yeah, I'm gonna just cheat and I'm gonna shout out. It's pretty PogChamp that Fate Stay Night is officially available to us filthy
Nice.
gaijin.
Yes.
I think that's pretty cool. I think
And
it's
it's on PC. You should be extra
yeah.
thankful,
I
bro.
think it's
You were this close to having it
yeah.
chucked back onto the Switch, bro.
Listen, man,
Come on,
it's more cinematic on the consoles. Okay,
now.
so says Nasu.
Oh my
Um,
god.
but yeah, it's crazy that it took Type Moon this long to be like, hey, wait a minute, our like biggest IP could be sold globally. Wait a minute,
And in a much easier manner. What's happening?
that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
As for callouts, I'm gonna call out. I forget his name, but the dude, the guy, the man, the myth, the legend, that was trying to rizz up his fucking Apex partner during
Oh yeah, with the Doki
fucking
Bird clip or
yeah,
whoever it
during
was.
Doki's fucking stress test stream.
I think his name was Salt or something.
I don't know what his name was.
It was
but
yeah,
either
it was
way,
like
man,
something
listen,
so
if you're trying to rizz up a girl,
I'm gonna shout him
and
out for content.
I know,
Yeah.
bro. No. If you're trying to rizz up a girl and the words "Are you still with Peter?" enter your mind, it's over.
It's
First of
fucking
all,
over, yeah.
if those words shouldn't be entering your mind. Second of all, they should be leaving your mouth. And
Here's a little tip.
especially not in an Apex lobby where there's another person that can hear you.
Yeah.
If someone wasn't available and you're talking to them and you still don't know they're available or not, you're
Yeah,
not
it's
supposed to know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Or they don't want you
Or
to
rather,
know.
you don't need to know.
Yeah.
Not a good idea. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much. And I think for me, my shout out I think would have what is it? Yeah. My shout out uh I had another shout out, but I just forgot it in the heat of the moment. But um my shout out is to essentially the fact that I managed to dodge my luck in that I managed to dodge 5 natural disasters in the span of 1 week for some reason or another. That was nice. Um, so that was cool. So shout outs to that. But my call out is to the freaking people who are the TikTok influencer or whatever who's just like, yo, why is comic market like this, bro? Is this like this doesn't have an artist gallery like we do in Germany? Like what?
Dude,
And
I
like
wonder why
they
comic market would be focused
yeah,
so heavily on people
yeah,
buying dojins more than anything else.
yeah.
Really
And
fucked
even then
up.
they still have actual like merch and stuff like that in those like alleys. So the entire thing is an artist alley. Like what do you want? The entire thing is an artist alley.
You trying to
And
tell me
then
it's
they're
some
just like
kind of market?
market. Yeah, exactly. And then the person is also just like, they had uh people line up to take pictures of the cosplayers in Germany. We just asked them for the pictures. It's like, bro, that's not the
That's
point
what the
you
line is
did.
for. The
Yeah,
line is literally
exactly.
to ask them
Yeah,
politely to take a
yeah,
picture. Like,
yeah.
But it's also like these people were
And it's
treating this shit as if it's like, it's like, yo, this is you walking around at fucking PAX East. Like, There are
Yeah.
there are people that are going places like in here that have their shit planned out. Like
Yeah, exactly.
the whole
And
point,
it's like,
you're there to
bro,
buy
it's like,
shit.
I didn't really see a lot of cosplayers. It's like, no, the cosplayers are outside over there, and like the ones walking around here, they're outside. Like you're just in the
Yeah, it's
wrong place.
like these people think this shit is like Gamescom and shit. It's like, dude, the whole
Yeah,
point is like that shit is like an expo where you're just like hanging out essentially and like trying to see shit. You're not
yeah,
going around trying to buy
yeah.
stuff when you go there.
But yeah, it was a little bit unfortunate to see some TikTokers do the walk around Comic-Con without really any idea of what Comic-Con was or why they're there or what they're doing or whatever it is. But you know, it is what it is. Those people will probably appear every once in a while. But yeah, call out to them. But yeah, that was it for our uh episode 253. We are halfway throughout the season now, and again we are going to probably do another episode in a week to restore our schedule, and then I think one more episode after that into our preview show. I think that's going to preview for fall 2024, of course, and that's probably going to be our schedule going forward, so just be aware of that. And if you do like what we do, we stream our podcast every other Saturday, starting from 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, over at twitch.tv/4 player animecast, again with the numeral 4, where we talk about the latest and greatest in Japanese animation media, anime, manga, light novels, web novels, visual novels, and so much more. So you can check us out and are recording here on Twitch or on YouTube. We have both the full podcast as well as various sections and highlights in whichever format you desire. Check us out for updates and news on our social media on Facebook, 4Play Animecast, as well as on Twitter/x.com at a handle at 4PP Animecast. So check us out here, check us out there, and as always, we'll see you next time.